Hey, I think we are good. Yeah, don't be like me and wait until the last minute to do all this shit. But anyway, where's my phone? Hold up. I really keep forgetting that I need to stop forgetting to charge my damn phone. I need to stop forgetting to do that. But anyway, hi everyone. I am Chimler15 and welcome to my rant stream of the Avengers movies, part one. I decided to do hold on one moment. Let me pull up the That's not what I wanted to. Is this? Come on, switch accounts. Okay, there we go. Let's see. No, sorry, I'm a bit. Okay, there we go. Turn the volume down. Okay, now I can see the chat on my phone. I should probably charge my phone first. Let me just do that. Okay, so yeah, I was actually just getting to that. Sorry. So I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to make this as streamlined as possible. I'm going to talk about the first four movies. There are eight movies. I think four main movies and four side movies. I think that's what it is. Yeah, so the four side movies are Captain America and the First Avenger, Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, and or is that one the mainstream title? I don't fucking know. And then there's the Black Widow movie. And then for the main movies, I think you have the Avengers, and then Age of Ultron, and then Infinity War, and then Endgame. I'm doing these in chronological order because that makes a lot of sense, and plus it makes the timeline a lot less confusing because we all know how fucked up the timeline can be at times, or how potentially confusing it can be. Because Marvel has a big ass universe, so many continuities. But anyway, I'm just gonna like cover the movies in chronological order. So we're gonna cover the first four of these eight: Captain America: The First Avenger, The Avengers, Captain America: Winter Soldier, and Age of Ultron, which I did not. Oh, wait, let me go to the next slide because that is on the next slide. There we go. And then the next four we can cover tomorrow. Yes, I'm gonna watch four more movies before tomorrow, but I don't feel like waiting. I don't feel like waiting another day to do this shit. So I'm gonna binge. I've been binging. I watched these movies within the last 3 days. Not the best idea, but what the fuck ever. Anyway, so let me just cover these movies really fast. Like just give you an overview of these movies. So, oh, hi. Hi, everyone in the chat. I meant to greet you all. Sluggy Man, Thomas, Voices Maple, Jorge. Hi. Anyone else who's here, hi. So, quick overview. Um, if you are wondering if I've watched any of these movies before watching them recently, I've only watched the first two, and out of all these eight movies, I've only watched the first two. When I first started watching all these movies in chronological order recently, I had only watched the first two, and and I watched them shortly before they came out. So that's like 10 years ago. Like, so I remember watching both Captain America, the First Avenger, and the Avengers movies. I watched both of those in theaters. I remember watching both of those in theaters shortly after they came out. But those are the only Avengers movies I've ever watched. Everything else I've never seen. I had never seen any of the other movies when I started watching all of these again. So all these in chronological order. I mean, um, so I do. So rewatching the first. Okay, so the first one was Captain America: The First Avenger, and the second one was The Avengers, of course. One in 2011, the second in 2012. Um, what was I going to say about these? Oh yeah, I remember. I don't really remember. I didn't really remember much of these. Um, before. But after rewatching them, I was like, while rewatching them, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that scene, and that scene too, and that scene. More so the Avengers movie. I remember that one a lot more than the first Avenger. That one I don't remember too well. The only thing I remember was really the ending, and as well as the whole transformation scene where Captain America goes from a little guy to a big guy. Those are the only ones I remembered. Um, the Avengers movies I remembered more scenes from that one. But yeah, anyway, and then you have The Winter Soldier, which came out like 2 or so years later, and then Age of Ultron in 2015. So we're going to be talking about these as quickly as we can, not like super quickly, but just quickly, because I don't want to like spend too long on any one point. Um, so before we get started, I did like all these movies, every single one. I would say that out of all of these four, the The Winter Soldier was probably my least favorite, but that doesn't mean that I didn't like it. It just means that out of all these, that one was my least favorite because I like the other three more. I just do. But Winter Soldier was good. I like that one too. All these movies are good. I just like the Winter Soldier one the least. But anyway, you haven't watched Age of Ultron? Oof, damn. It will be my second. Wait, sorry. I need to go back and look at the chat. When will you play Just Dance 2 again? I would, but that's probably not. I don't see the point because I'll just, like, the stream will just get taken down. You probably can't even see my old Just Dance 2 streams. I've done only two. I'd like to do a third one, but I can't. At least without the stream being taken down. So, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Ooh, you got past see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Okay. Oh, an advanced screening. Oh, nice, Maple. The Winter Soldier was your least favorite? What? I'm just kidding. You can have your own opinion. Oh, okay. But I mean, I knew you were kidding, but still. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so let's get into it. So yeah, again, I had only watched the first two movies. The second two were completely new to me when I started watching them, but I do like all of them. Okay, let's get started with Captain America: The First Adventure. This one I have fond memories of. So I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna have like a quick. I'm not even gonna like bother summarizing the whole movie. But basically, Steve Rogers, um, he's a small guy, 5'4", frail, has a shit ton of conditions. We're talking rheumatoid arthritis. I think, or was it? No, I don't think it's rheumatoid arthritis. I think it was rheumatic fever. I don't remember. But there was also asthma, palpitations, and all that shit. Like he had a shit ton of disorders, and so he couldn't get into the army. Like he had a shit ton of disorders, and he was struggling to keep up with the other troops. So yeah, but then one scientist by the name of I think Dr. Erskine. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. Erskine, whatever. A German scientist came to him and saw that Steve Rogers, despite being frail and weak and having a shit ton of health problems, um, well, he had diabetes too. That I remember. Anyway, um, oh yeah, and he had contact with tuberculosis at one point. Household contact. Why do I remember this shit? I don't know. Maybe it's because I have a bit of medical background. But anyway, um, basically he was a mess. But the German scientists found him because he was inspired by his idealism. That's like he was talking to his friend Bucky at one point, and then the scientist was like, a man like you, I think you'd make a great person for my experiments. We're going to turn you into a super soldier. So he basically turned to Master Chief, and he went from 5'4" to 6'1", which is like I think one and a half. That's tall as hell. It's like 1.5 inches taller than me. So, damn. And it's like I'm a tall person, but he's even taller than I am. And it's just like, damn. So he's 6'1" or 6'2". No, it's 6'2" actually. 6'2". Sorry, let me correct that. So yeah, that's really tall. And he also has more muscle. Like he's superhuman at this point basically. He's taller, thicker, stronger, more muscular, all that shit. It's like and he also got a cool shield made of vibranium. You know that shit that the Wakandans love to use. Um, no, at that point in time, that was the only source of vibranium they had. That was all the vibranium the scientists had. So yeah, he got taller and stronger, and he also got a shield, and he became Captain America, the first Avenger, and he's fighting against this villain. I can't remember what his name was. I legit can't remember. This villain. What was his name? I legit cannot remember. Fuck. But he was part of the Nazi army, and he was actually leading. And let's see. Oh yeah, he was leading this project called Hydra. It was basically doing planning world domination with some other scientist by his side, whose name I also forgot. Red Skull. Oh, that's it. Yes, Red Skull. I think he. I was. I don't know. I don't remember what his real name was. I don't remember what his real name was, or that name. I don't know why. I watched all these movies in a short time. Give me a break. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. I did, but anyway, yeah, I don't know how I forgot his name. It's like, how do you not know his name? I don't know. I just don't. I remember the character. Like, how could you forget the character? He was a freak, just like, well, Rogers wasn't a freak, but but the Red Skull was an experiment too. A failed one, technically, but an experiment nonetheless. But But yeah, like that Red Skull had this German scientist by his, or was it Swiss? No, he was Swiss, not German. I'm sorry, he was Swiss. I forgot what his name was though. And he appears in Winter Soldier again, but not in the way you'd expect, but we'll get to that later. I forgot what the what the Swiss scientist's name was, but he and Red Skull team up to, and then they're like they want to make they again they have this project called Hydra, which leads they want to dominate the world with it. So yeah, that's it. And then Captain America. I said Captain Rogers, Captain America, and the army that he's with, along with several of his best men, whose names I forgot and don't care to remember, except not Bucky Rogers. What am I? Bucky. I forgot what his last name was. Shit. Bucky. Let's just call him Bucky. Bucky, was it Bucky Daniels? I can't remember. I cannot remember these names worth a damn. But Bucky, I know his first name was Bucky. Yeah, we'll get to that later. He also makes another appearance, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, he was Roger's best friend. Died during one of the missions. Bucky Barnes. Okay, there we go. Thank you. I can't remember these names worth a damn. Bucky Barnes. Yes, that's right. So, so yeah, like Rogers and Barnes fighting side by side along with all the other men in the army. Bucky at one point dies, dies, and you know the Rogers presses on. They're fighting against the Hydra. They succeed, but at the cost of Rogers's life. Well, seemingly. Well, I don't need to put quotes around that. Seemingly. Oh, but then because like at the end he gives up his life to like prevent a missile from detonating the city or some shit like that. But that was after his battle with Red Skull. and he stops the missile, but he ends up getting knocked out by the crash. He had to put the stupid thing in the water, and um, well, it was a ship that had a missile on it. But anyway, um, but the army found his body, preserved it in ice. He woke up 70 years later and became an Avenger. He met Nick Fury at the end of the movie, so yeah. Oh yeah, right. There was also Howard Stark, aka Tony Stark's father, of course. And you can't forget about Peggy Carter. Yeah, Peggy Carter, Rogers' love interest, even before he became Captain America. So yeah, yeah. Howard Stark was apparently Tony Stark's father, and he he made an appearance because he was demonstrating this experiment with a car that was hovering hover car or whatever, a car that was hovering. But yeah. But yeah, that's basically the whole story. Rogers and his army face off against Red Skull and his army. Rogers wins, but has his body has to be put under cryogenesis, cryostasis, whatever the fucking term is. And his body was in stasis for 70 years. Then he woke up in the new world, and not in the new world, but in the new era, and Nick Fury was there to greet him. So yay. Oh yeah, that's that too. Right, when Captain America, like, when he was having this chat with Nick Fury, not at the very end, that's a different scene. Like when he right after he woke up, he realized I never got a chance to date Peggy, which just that was sad. That was very sad. That was just sad. I hated that. It's like, but you'll get to see Peggy later, though. But we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. Um, but but yeah, like he didn't get a chance to date her all those years back. So that was sad. It gives you Lightyear vibes, doesn't it? It does. It gives me Lightyear vibes, except not as shitty. Anyway, let's go on with the positives, of which there are many. Um, I like the movie. I like it a lot. Like I liked it back then when I watched it 12 years ago, apparently, about 12 years ago, and I like it now. So it was a good movie. I liked it. I like the story. I really do like the story because for one thing, there was this moral in the story that was wait, hold up. Captain America is actually Buzz himself, and by Buzz himself and Chris at what? What the fuck? Hang on one moment. Are you fucking kidding me? No, what the kind of what? You mentioned that, and I forgot. I completely forgot. Honestly, I completely forgot. Like, no way that can't be a coincidence. So, it's like I said, this movie gives me Lightyear vibes. Oh, by the way, this guy played Buzz Lightyear in the movie Lightyear. And I'm like, seriously? That is just a really freaky coincidence. I can't. I can't with this. I can't. I can't. Okay. Oh my god. But I bet Chris Evans himself realized that too. I'm sure he himself realized that. Even if I wonder if he even talked about it at one point. Because it's like this character and my character Captain America, we're bros. But anyway, um okay, so across this, I like that this movie it actually does have a good moral. I think it has a good moral where it's like there's more to being a soldier than being big and strong. Of course, Captain America ended up having to become big and strong, but that's not the point. The point is that even if you're small and weak, it's really your values that matter the most. Though that's the strength. That's true strength. It's not just about being able to, punch things or list things or anything like that. There's more to strength than that. That's basically what the movie is saying. And I like that. So, are there any other morals I can think of? He ended up being a damn near Captain Perfect America, right? Yeah, exactly. It's your spirit and morals that matter the most, and not just your strength. Because you could have all the strength in the world, but it won't mean a damn thing if you don't know how to fucking use it. But Captain America knows how to fucking use it, which is why he's Captain America, the first Avenger. That's what matters. So the movie isn't saying, "Oh, you need to be big and strong to do shit. You have to, even to the point where you have to like inject yourself with shit." No, that's not what the movie is saying. I'm sure nobody thinks that, but for the dumbasses who do, that's not what it's saying. The movie is saying that what's in here is what matters. It's what matters most. It's not just about physical strength. You know, you need to have heart too. Yeah, exactly. Steve Rogers doesn't even change as a character even after he gets all big and strong. He's still the same Steve Rogers. He's still the same humble, down to earth guy who's willing to lay his life on the line for others. That didn't change when he got big and strong and popular. In fact, he hated, and no joke, like at the start of the movie, just after he turned to Captain America, he was really just a shell guy at first, which he hated because that wasn't what he wanted to do. But when he started going out and doing shit, now that's when he became the Captain America we all know. So Captain America is an awesome character in this movie. He's really, I would say he's one of my favorite Marvel characters. I'm going to be honest. I think he's always been one of my favorites, along with Spider Man. He and Spider Man are like two of my favorites. Are there any others? I feel like there are a few others, but those two are at the top of my list probably. The Fantastic Four, I literally forgot they existed. I haven't paid attention to them since the late 2000s. So I guess I dodged a bullet there. Which is sad because they actually seem which is sad because like I remember like back then they didn't have a you know they didn't have a shitty movie like that or shitty movies like that, so I don't know. I do not know. Yeah, exactly. That's Captain America for you. He basically refuses to change. He doesn't like bullies. He doesn't want to kill anyone. He's not the kind of person to just go in guns blazing unless he has to. He's honestly my favorite of the original six Avengers. He'd be my second favorite. Black Widow's my first, but Captain America is a very, very, very close second. Very close second. But I like all the Avengers, but Captain America is my second favorite. Black Widow would be my first. And you'll see why I like Black Widow in the Rantstream because there's she's just so awesome. I love her. Now I don't want to watch. Ew, is Fantastic Four? Is it on? Is it on Disney Plus? I hope not. Oh shit, what am I doing? I hope not. Ew, it is. Wait, no, that's the 2005 film. Never mind. Oh no, the 2015 film is on this one too. Ew, ew, ew. Okay, well, not gonna watch that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, both the 2015 film and the 2005 film are on there. I have this open in a separate tab. Disney Plus, I mean. Okay. So, okay. Well, anyway, the story is great. I think the story is great. I don't think it's the best story I've ever seen, but it's great to me. Because the story is basically it ties back into my first point, but the story is basically, you know, it's about one man who he in a way Captain America parallels Spider-Man to me in that he got powers, not Spidey powers, obviously, but he got powers and he ended up using them for good. Because with great power comes great responsibility. That's Spider-Man's motto. And I think Captain America does has that motto as well, even though the movie doesn't outright say it. Like that's basically his thing too. That's his MO. So, to me, it's a great story about a war hero, someone who starts off small but then gets big, literally and figuratively, and he uses that power to help everyone, even at the cost of his own life at the end of the movie, even though he didn't technically die. But yeah, I like the villain as well. I like both the heroes and the villains. I like that Captain America also had, some army buddies who seem to be pretty cool characters. I just can't be bothered to remember their names, but they were pretty cool characters. Um, the villain and his scientists were also good characters, as well as Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter's a badass. Let me tell you, she is a badass. That bitch can kick ass, and she will let you know about it. But I liked all the characters, and the story was pretty cool. It was pretty straightforward and simple. War hero goes up against Nazi Germany, but who cares? I still liked it. So I guess I might as well put great characters as well. I liked all the characters. I don't think there was a single one I hated. Even Fox wants everyone to forget about that movie, right? This was also written by Christopher Marcus Sands, Stephen McFeely, who went on to that's a long ass name. Who went on to write the next two Captain America movies along with Infinity War and Endgame. Oh, okay. This movie was directed by Joe Johnson. That's correct. Joe Johnson. Yeah, I that name does seem familiar. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Rocketeer, Jumanji, October Sky, Jurassic Park 3, which nobody likes apparently. So he directed all those. Huh. That's a lot of intel, Maple. Thank you. But yeah, the story is simple and straightforward, but I think it was told pretty well. Of course, Captain America himself was also a great character. He wasn't perfect, but he didn't need to be. He just needed to be great, and he was great. Um, I don't really have much to say about the story because again, it's just very straightforward and simple. But I think it was told pretty well. It was exciting, plenty of action, great action scenes. Captain America kicks too much ass. He kicks so much ass that with the shield, with his hand-to-hand combat skills, which seem to get better as the movies go along. Captain America, like as you'll see in the Winter Soldier, Captain America literally fought an assassin like in hand-to-hand combat, and I was like, this guy is too good. He is too good. And that shield is just he can fight with the shield or without the shield, but he just kicks ass either way. That shield is just I love it. Like seriously, I want a shield like that. Give me a shield. I want a shield like that. In fact, I think that out of all the shields in fiction, that one's probably my favorite. With the Helion shield from the Zelda series being a close second, because Captain America's shield is just I love it. It even stood up to Thor's hammer, which we will get to because that happened in the second movie. We'll get to that later. But anyway, plenty of great action scenes. And his army buddies kick ass too. And apparently the villain's also quite good at hand to hand combat as well, which was surprising. But yeah, plenty of good action scenes. Yeah, exactly. Like Captain America kicked ass in this one too. It wasn't just in Winter Soldier or the Avengers. Like he kicked ass before that point. Like have these people not watched the first movie? How can you how can you say that Captain America didn't kick ass here? He did kick ass. Like no joke, literally right after the experiment, and this was like I think this is when he didn't really receive a lot of training. I don't think he was trained all that much, and didn't he definitely didn't have any experience in combat. He literally chased down someone who one a Hydra spy or whatever, shirtless and shoeless, and managed to catch him. And I'm like, how is that not kicking ass? Along with all the other scenes during the war, how is that not kicking ass? How is that not kicking ass? Yeah, exactly. The tone is the movie's pretty lighthearted for the most part, which I do like. I do like that a lot. So yeah, Captain America did actual shit. Yeah, I did like the how the movie this movie really does have good cinematography in my opinion because it felt like I was actually in World War in the 1940s. It actually did feel like that. They really did a good job with that. Like whoever directed that shit, whoever did all the set design, whatever, they did a good job. It really did feel like the 1940s in that movie. Of course, they weren't going to replicate the setting perfectly, but they didn't need to. It just needed to be good, and it was good. So good cinematography overall. Really, this movie is just really good. I don't see like I don't really see what else can I talk about? I mean, the acting was great. Like we already know that. I think the acting was great. I think it was. Like I don't think I can't really name a single bad performance from anyone. Not off the top of my head. But really, these people felt like actual people. They felt like real characters who could kick ass. So yeah, I don't really have much to say on that. I think everyone did a good job with the acting. Especially Captain America. You could definitely feel his emotions when he lost his best friend. I should say lost. When he realized that he never got a chance to date Peggy. Like just a lot of feels. Not too many feels because honestly, there are more there are other Avengers movies that are even more heart that pull on your heartstrings than this one does, but this one did a good job. Oh yeah, there was that one scene where the blonde flirted with Steve and she made out with him. And he didn't really want to make out with her, but she came on to him and then Peggy came in at the worst time and then got all mad at him. And then later, and she got jealous. And then later, when just when Steven, just after Steve had gotten his shield, um, like, and, and Peggy's like, "Here, let me test it out with my gun," and then just fires at Steve with no warning, and he uses the shield to protect himself. And then she's like, "Oh, the shield works." And I was like, "Peggy, you were wrong for that. You were very wrong for that. You were wrong for that." But yeah. Oh yeah, and that's another thing about Captain America's character. He's just very awkward with women. Like throughout the movie, it's shown that he's awkward with women, and even even Peggy at one point lightly makes fun of him for it, where she's like, you don't really know how to talk to a woman, do you?" And and Captain America's like, "You're not wrong. In fact, this is probably the longest conversation I've ever had with one." But yeah, like I love Peggy as a character. She was just so cool. Oh yeah, and another thing I like about Captain America's character is that even though he can kick ass, like he can punch things and do all that stuff, he's not. He knows how to fight smart. And at one point, he's actually giving orders out in the movie. He's giving orders in the movie. I mean, he's called Captain America for a reason, but he knows how to strategize. He's not all brawn. He's also brain too. Even before he became Captain America, he had brains. Like remember that one scene where all the soldiers were trying to get a flag at the top of a pole, but they couldn't do it. Not even the strongest one could do it, and so they all gave up. But then, but then Rogers was like, you know what? I'm gonna just knock this pole over by pulling one of the pins on it, and then he knocked the pole over. Like he just pulled one of the pins that was holding the pole up, and then the pole fell, and then he just grabbed the flag. It's like, okay, I win. And what else? Um, what else? But yeah, but yeah, Captain America is clearly not an idiot. That's basically the point I'm making. He can also be quite smart at times and tactical as well. Agent Carter was on. Oh, huh. I didn't know Peggy Hill had a show like that. It's like Peggy Hill. Peggy Carter. My bad. No, Peggy Hill's a completely different character. A character that a lot of people get pissed about, and rightfully so. But we don't have to talk about that. Anyway, I need to like I don't know why I keep thinking her last name is Hill. It's Carter. It's Carter. Peggy Carter. But anyway. So you like the first season of Agent Carter, but not the second. Oh, okay. But you've seen the first season. Oh, I'm sorry. You said you've seen the first season, but not the second. But you've heard that the second season is not good. That's what you meant. Sorry. But anyway, anything else I can say? I can't think of anything else. Let's see. Story, character. I'm not really going to be talking about the music in these movies because there's not really a lot of music to begin with. Not that there needs to be. Because I like it's like these are Avengers movies. They're not going to have a lot of music. But anyway, um, but the music that was in there was good. I don't remember it, but I do remember it adding to the intensity of all these scenes, these action scenes and whatnot, as well as some emotional scenes. So I say the music was good. I think there were only like 4 tracks in this film, but whatever. Anything else I can think of? See, story, characters, action scenes, acting, music. I think that's it. Hold on one moment. Okay. Sorry, I need to change into shorts. I'm gonna eat my Skittles. Skittles. I don't know why. I don't know why I get. I don't know why I feel hotter I don't know. Anyway, those are all the positives. Any negatives? Hmm. You know, one moment. Copy paste. Oh shit. Oh, damn. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. Negatives. The one complaint that people have with this movie is the montage scene where they basically fast forward through most of Steve's best days as Captain America in World War II. To me, I mean, I guess that's not exactly wrong, but I mean, this movie was already like over 2 hours long. What could they do? What could they do? There was still some action in it. I honestly don't think that I honestly don't think that they fast forward through a lot. There was still plenty of action left, but again, it was a 2 hour movie. But like they could only put in so much action before the movie becomes too long. But I guess they could have put in more. But honestly, I didn't even notice. It didn't ruin it for me either. So as for any negatives, I can't readily think of any that I agree with, or any that I can think of. I guess they could have added more action scenes. But honestly, I think the movie had enough. Besides, it was an origin story. Like I don't think an origin story is necessarily going to have a lot of action for a hero, which makes sense because it's like it's their origin story. They're going to be inexperienced. I mean, some origin stories can have a lot of action, but I mean, again, they're origin stories. So yeah, exactly. Like even if the writers even said it, then they tried to make the movie longer within reason, but they couldn't make it too long. Honestly, I honestly don't think this is much of a criticism. If I'm going to be honest, I just don't. Because what could they do about it? And to me, there was still plenty of action. I don't know. Yeah, I guess the pacing could have been improved a bit, maybe just a bit. But again, there wasn't much that the writers could have done. So I guess I could say that the pacing could have been improved slightly. But that's really all I can think of. Because again, there wasn't much they could do about the runtime. Yeah, I guess the ending, the third act did feel a bit rushed, but really, honestly, I didn't even notice at first. Yeah, that was a pretty sad moment. He didn't get that date with Peggy. She lived life without him. She had no choice but to. And you'll be seeing her again in Winter Soldier, but we'll get to that later. Captain America has like 3 movies to himself in this series. I guess it makes sense. He's probably one of the most popular Avengers, if I'm going to be honest. Because the last time I ever like paid attention to the Marvel universe, I feel like he was one of the more popular ones at the time. But anyway, really, overall, a good movie. I can't think of any other negatives. So there really aren't very many, or at least any I can really think of off the top of my head. So anyway, now we go to the first mainstream title, The Avengers. That's just a name, The Avengers. Oops. So this is the origin story of the Avengers, sort of. Well, it bleeds like it's connected to the movie we just talked about, but the Captain America movie, the first one. But this is this is the this is the story of how all the Avengers got together. When Nick Fury was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull Suicide Squad and call all these people to work together for a greater good or some shit like that. For the greater good, like for a common cause or whatever. And so he decides to enlist Thor, God of Thunder, son of Odin, Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, son of Howard Stark, who was in the first Captain America movie, Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, I think that's her name. Romanov, whatever, she's Russian. Um, but yeah, that's her name. And then 'Cause I've seen it spelled like with I think it's I've seen it spelled both ways, but whatever. Um, who else? Hawkeye. Uh, who's his- Clint. I forgot what his last name was. Shit, let me look this shit up. Fuck this. 'Cause I like I have the most of the spelling in my head, but I cannot remember what the exact. That's right, Barton. Okay, so I was right. Yeah, Clint Barton. I remembered first name was Clint, but I could not remember his last name. I know it started with the B. So Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye. Um, let me look up Black Widow's name as stupid ass. Okay, yeah, Natasha Romanoff. Okay, yeah. So I was right. It's two F's. Okay, but I think she had a different name as apparently her Russian name. Um, because apparently she had a different name before. Natalia Alyanovna Romanova. The fuck kind of. I'm no wonder just call her Natasha Romanoff. Um, so who else? Oh yeah, Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, and Captain America, of course, aka Steve Rogers. Steven Rogers. Sorry. I keep mixing these names up. Oh well, actually, I think both names are valid. Apparently, yeah, both names are valid. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, it's basically Suicide Squad, but except that these guys are actually not assholes or evil or crazy. So it's like Suicide Squad, but with good people, with actual good people. So that's basically what this movie is. Anyway, in Iron Man 2, her nickname was Natalie Rushman. Oh, okay. Sorry, it's hard to keep up with some of these names. I'm trying to learn them. Okay, anyway. So Nick Fury calls all of them together. Um, oh yeah, and Thor's brother, who's adopted by the way, Loki, he he wants to harness the energy of an artifact or whatever called the Tesseract, and he plans to use it to rule over. I can't remember what his purpose was. Either it was to rule over the Earth or cause it to or to destroy it. But either way, he wanted to wield it. He wanted to wield its power and become nigh invincible. And he wanted to witness. Actually, no. I know his plan was actually to bring a an entire alien army to Earth, so he could brag, so he could like show off his power to them. That was his plan. It was a weird plan, but that was his plan. Basically, he wanted to rule with that artifact. So the Avengers had to stop him, and they did stop him. They had some problems along the way, but they did stop him at the end. In the end, um, not without there was a shit ton of battles between. Oh yeah, right. So at the beginning, Loki was. I think he was. I'm trying to remember. See, this is why you don't watch four movies within the span of 3 days. He was at one point. No, actually, now I remember. So Shield, the company run by Nick Fury. Well, he was the head of the company or whatever, one of the heads of the company. I don't care. I don't remember. No, he's not the head, but he's one of the higher. He's one of the like the highest ranking officers there, basically. And basically he went to this facility and with Agent Maria Hill, his partner. Um, the this facility, like the people inside were testing. They were trying to, work with the Tesseract, which was found in the first movie, by the way, the Captain America movie, the very first one, the the first Avenger movie. The Tesseract was found there, and it appeared in that movie, and now the army of the present, not the army, sorry, that facility in the present day, they were trying to experiment on it, but for some reason it just wasn't cooperating with them. But of course, and Hawkeye was there too. Um, he realized, oh, someone must be controlling it on the other side. And, someone was. Loki, who appeared in the facility and just fucked shit up. Like, caused destruction everywhere. The people inside, all the soldiers inside tried to capture him, they couldn't. But fortunately, I think almost everyone got out. Either everyone got out or almost everyone got out because Loki literally caused the whole place to collapse in on itself. So, yeah. But yeah, later the Avengers assemble, and then they have quite a number of battles with Loki. At one point, they do capture him, but that was only because that was part of his plan. Because they wanted to like, Loki wants to destroy the Avengers by unleashing the Hulk on everyone, which Black Widow figures out, but unfortunately, she's too late to stop it. So, but yeah, like shit happens all aboard this airship that they're all on. Which Loki was a prisoner in that one. He was in this prison at one point. But then, yeah, he breaks out, causes shit to happen in the city, and but fortunately, the Avengers stop him. Everyone, um, and there are a shit ton of funny scenes in this movie, like, and some of which I actually remember from many years ago. So there was this one scene where Loki's on the verge of losing, and Hulk appears, like they're in the Stark Tower, and then Loki's like, it's like Loki's like, enough of this shit. I You know who I am? I'm a god. I will not be bullied by. And then Hulk just picks him up and just slams him and throws his ass all around, and then walks away and says, "Puny god." So that was one funny scene. Another funny scene I remember was, Hulk and Thor. At one point, I think at one point they fought each other. Because remember, as I said, Loki wanted Hulk to be unleashed on the Avengers, so he and Thor had a fight there. But later in the movie, they're working together to take out these aliens that are threatening the city. I forgot what city it was. Was it uh what was the city? Was it Manhattan? I don't remember. But it's basically the city where the Stark Tower resides. And then after Thor and Hulk have their moment of working together to fight against all the aliens and shit, Hulk just punches Thor. It just punches him like without warning, and that was really funny. And there's another funny scene with the Hulk where, okay, so at one point there's this missile. Shield launches this missile. Nick Fury didn't want this to happen, but Shield went through with it anyway. They launched this missile towards the city and in an attempt to destroy it because there were too many aliens in it. But Iron Man was like, nope, I'm gonna just take this missile and yeet it into the portal where all these aliens are coming from. And he ended up destroying like literally this big ass colony or whatever, this big ass alien colony. And Iron Man survived that barely, but he survived it. He fell through the hole in time before the hole closed up because like it was coming from the Tesseract. It was from this device from the Stark Tower. Um, that what was his name? Eric Selvig. That scientist was brainwashed by Loki, along with Hawkeye. Hawkeye was brainwashed as well. He had been brainwashed, so he had built that device, but he snapped out of his brainwashing, so he had to team up with Black Widow to close the portal. Iron Man fell through just in time, hit the ground, but then so Hulk and Captain America and Thor, they all went to check up on him. Iron Man seemingly dead, but then Hulk literally screams, and then Iron Man wakes up. It's funny. It's like Hulk is too funny in this movie. I can't. It's just way too funny. So yeah. No, it was funny. It was funny, right, Maple? It was funny. Hulk is just too funny. He has some of the funniest scenes in this movie. Yeah, Hawkeye was in this movie, and the dude an amazing archer, pretty much unparalleled. Too bad he was brainwashed by Loki and had to be knocked out by Black Widow and like they had to like clear out the brainwashing shit. But anyway, Hawkeye, yeah, that's the thing. Which is funny because yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, apparently Jeremy Renner, the guy who played Hawkeye, apparently he was in a snowplow incident and it messed him up pretty badly. I work at a grocery store, for those of you who remember, and I saw this at one night, like within the last few nights. It was just really funny because this was around the same time I started watching the Avengers movies. A weird coincidence, but I saw a magazine and I was like, oh shit, that's the guy who plays Hawkeye. He was in an accident? Damn. But he's recovering. He's recovering now. Like he's actually fine now. But yeah, he was in a snowplow incident apparently. So I was like, damn, okay. That's said by Nick Fury. That was a stupid ass decision. Yeah, like, really trying to nuke a city with a missile to clear out the aliens. And you're not even trying to when you know that they're coming from a gate that is not being closed. But yeah, Jeremy Renner's doing fine now. He did get messed up from that. Even his face was all oof. Yeah, he was lucky to have been saved. But yeah, that's the movie. Basically, the Avengers have to fight against Loki and his army. They win. Thor goes home with Loki and the Tesseract. The Avengers are formed. I mean, they go their separate ways, but then they're gonna be called back. But anyway, positives. Um, where do I start? I liked all the characters. I like all the Avengers. I liked Thor, the Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Loki, Nick Fury, Agent Hill, Eric Selvig, and and that one guy. who also worked under Nick Fury. What was his name? Coulson? I cannot remember what his first. I think it was his first name Peter. I cannot remember. Let me look this shit up. Sorry, it's hard to keep track of all these characters. I don't remember. No, Phil. That was his name. Phil Coulson. That was his name. Sorry. So I was close, sort of. I liked him too. He was basically a big Captain America fanboy and Thor fanboy, I think. More of a Captain America fanboy. So, yeah, I liked all these characters, really. The side characters, the main characters. I can't name a single character I didn't like. Oh, wait, he didn't die? And there was an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series? The Avengers were never aware of him surviving. How? 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 What? Uh, whatever. Whatever. Marvel deaths are just sometimes they're just so weird. Anyway, that man's playing Galaga. He didn't think we wouldn't notice, but we did. And then later, the man's playing Galaga again. Tony Stark. Tony Stark called that man out. Now, who's who was the funniest character in the movie? I would say it was either the Hulk or Tony Stark. They're both funny. If you binge the whole show, it must have been a good one. But yeah, I liked all the characters. Black Widow. I said this earlier, but Black Widow is my favorite adventure because it's fine if you have superpowers, but Black Widow shows that you don't need superpowers to kick ass. You don't. You don't need superpowers, or you don't need to be in any sort of experiment or whatever to kick ass. Anyone can kick ass. And that's what Black Widow's here to do. She's like, I can kick ass too. And she's one hell of a spy. Like, probably, like, seriously, her spy skills are just unparalleled. Or at least almost unparalleled. I love her. She just kicks so much ass. And she's pretty. So there's that. Although she had a different actress in the second movie of this list for some reason. Before they switched her back. I don't know. Maybe there was a reason for it. But anyway, it'd be funny if it had turned out Tony. Would have been funny if it had turned out Tony said that just to fuck with everyone, only to find out that the man was actually playing Galaga, right? Okay, so I was right. Hulk and Tony are the funniest characters. Called it. But yeah, but yeah. And another thing I like about the Avengers is that three of them have superpowers, the other three don't. It's not even just Black Widow. So you have three that have superpowers or are superhuman. Thor, um, let's see, Thor, Hulk, and Captain America. And then you have three without superpowers or superhuman abilities. Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Iron Man. It's a nice balance. So it's like you have three that don't have powers and three that do, and they all together they all kick ass, and by themselves they all kick ass. Oh, she's always been played by Scarlett Johansson. Why do I think she was played by a different actress in the second movie? I don't know. That guy was cool. That dude really knows how to shoot an arrow. I really hate that he was brainwashed though, but I can see why Loki wanted him because honestly, that guy is dangerous. Hawkeye is dangerous. The Hulk was great, funny. Poor guy though, constantly has to keep his anger in check, only for him to later say at the movie where Captain America's like, "Don't get angry," and it's like, "Oh, don't, oh, but fam, I'm always angry." I think that was I think that was the exchange. I can't remember the exact dialogue, but that's one of the scenes that I've always remembered. Thor was a badass. It's Thor. Of course, he's going to be a badass. You have a hammer made of extremely powerful metal, and you can wield lightning like a boss. And Captain America, we already know how awesome he is, and he kicks even more ass in this movie than he does in the first movie. Although he kicked a lot of ass in the first movie too. And again, he's the one calling the shots at the end of the film, towards the end of the film, and rightfully so. You want me to put the hammer down? Yeah, that scene. I remember that scene where Thor and Iron Man are fighting because Thor comes out of nowhere. Like the other Avengers literally had Loki locked up in the ship, but then Thor came and took Loki out. Had a conversation with him. Iron Man came in and fought Thor, and then Captain America came in and stopped the both of them. And Thor tried to hit Captain America with his hammer, but the hammer hit the shield, and then and then there was a big ass shockwave, and then Captain America was like, "So are we done fighting now?" And they all stopped fighting. Literally, Captain America's shield is so powerful that it can literally stop Thor's hammer. Thor's fucking hammer. But yeah, um, Iron Man was awesome. It's Iron Man. He's always awesome. Like, like I like Iron Man as a character. I like all the characters. Iron Man's funny, also smart, and his suit kicks so much ass. And I love how he can just like take it on and off, like either with machines or like he could just make it stay, or he could just walk right out of it and have it in Sentry mode or whatever. And of course, am I forgetting anyone? I think I covered everyone. I'm pretty sure I covered everyone. Really, all the Avengers kick ass. Oh, is that what happened, Scott? I didn't know Spider-Man and Hawkeye had that exchange. Wow, that's funny. I also like the overall themes of teamwork and friendship in this movie, despite it being very simple and straightforward. And those themes are reinforced in Age of Ultron, but we'll get to that later. Well, they're played with. Well, they're reinforced, and then and then they get challenged, but then they get reinforced later. But you'll see what I mean later. The entire premise of this movie is basically the one question everyone had before this movie came out: is the Avengers actually going to work? And the movie answered, "Oh yes." That's what the movie's answer was. So yeah, Avengers. But yeah, the story was pretty straightforward. I like the story. Even though I don't understand all the lore, you don't really need to understand a lot of the lore to watch this movie, which I do appreciate because nobody wants to do homework before watching a movie. So I know almost nothing about Thor or about really any of these characters. I know a bit about a few of them, but that's it. Like I know a bit about the Hulk because I remember reading this book as a kid about how the Hulk came to be the Hulk. He was part of this experiment gone wrong. He was experimenting until some dumbass kid walked right into his testing ground, and then he ran in and got the kid out. But there was this explosion of this gamma radiation, and gamma radiation was all over the place. And then that's how he became the Hulk. So, and then Captain America, I knew about his story as well. He was basically the Master Chief, Marvel edition, and Iron Man. I know a bit about him, but I never really touched his content very much. Although I do remember that there was this one animated show about these kids, and one of them was and one about these three teenagers, and one of them had an Iron Man suit. I don't even remember what that kid's name was, the one who had that Iron Man suit. But yeah, it was just a show about those three teens and whatever. It was an animated show, but anyway, I'm just gonna look for it because I think it ran in like 2010s. But anyway. This movie basically spends the first two-thirds of the movie answering every logical question everyone had, and then the final act is basically a firework display, celebrating its own existence, basically. This is probably the one Avengers movie that has the proper balance of plot, character, and action. I agree. But yeah, the story was good. I liked that they brought Loki in and made him an actual threat, and had him even brainwash two of Shield's allies, and they were powerful allies too. One a great scientist, to one an amazing archer. And I'm like, damn, that's gonna cause problems. Like, see, literally, Hawkeye is so awesome as an adventure that even Loki was like, I could use you. Like, Loki could have just killed him, but then he was like, no, actually, I'm just gonna use you instead. And not just because he was Shield, part of Shield, but also because Hawkeye was just goddamn amazing as an Avenger. Because Hawkeye actually did cause a lot of problems for the Avengers, and I'm like, damn, Black Widow managed to knock him out. Though that match could have gone either way, but Black Widow, she came through. Thank God. Yeah, I'm sure the sequels are probably going to get divisive, more and more divisive as I watch the rest of the movies. Anyway, yeah, I like the story. It was simple and straightforward. Loki comes in, wants to basically use the Tesseract to dominate Earth. That's it. But the Avengers went and stopped him. And and of course, the action scenes were great. Plenty of great action scenes. Again, we had the scene with Thor and Iron Man and Captain America fighting in the forest, in some forest or whatever, at night. And you also have, of course, that entire fight with the aliens at the end, where all the Avengers kicked so much ass. All of them, every single one, had their moments to shine. Every single one. And they weren't just kicking ass; they were also, helping civilians out. And I love that there's this one scene where Captain America shows up in front of these police officers in the city, and he starts giving out orders, and they're like, why should we listen to you?" And then Captain America kicks a bunch of aliens. Like he defeats a bunch of aliens right in front of them. And they were like, "Okay, let's just do what this guy says." It's like it's Captain America. You better do what he says. So yeah, plenty of great action scenes, and of course there are plenty of good action scenes on the ship with Thor and Hulk fighting and whatnot. Hawkeye versus Black Widow. Nick Fury, Agent Hill fighting against many of Loki's men. Agent Hill is a badass, and so is Nick Fury. They kick ass. They do kick ass. Like they have their moments in this movie too. Like literally everyone kicked ass in this film. But yeah, so many good fights. Hey MM2, what's up? Okay, anything else? I would say the music is good, but I don't remember much of it. Really, I'd say the music in all these movies is good. I can't name a single track that's out of place, so I'm just gonna say good music. Like music can be sentimental at times or really action packed. Marvel knows how to use music to their advantage in these movies, although they don't use a lot of it. They know how to use it. So I would say good music. Yeah, once the one shot of all the Avengers together was awesome. Like where they're all just fighting together at the end. And you'll see another thing like that in Age of Ultron twice. But we'll get to that later. Yeah, these the music isn't exactly memorable in a lot of these, but that's okay. Like because again, most of these don't even have lyrics, so but yeah, good music. Good characters, story, action, scenes, music. Is there anything else? The acting. I mean, I can't name a single bad performance. But I really like. I say all these characters were. I'd say the acting from all the characters was good, but there are two characters that I particularly liked: Hawkeye and Black Widow. You can sense that they have a genuine friendship with each other, and you can sense how distressed Hawkeye was after his brainwashing had been, had been eliminated. That like he was like it messed him up. It messed him up. It really messed him up because he did horrible things while he was brainwashed. But Black Widow was there to comfort him. It was a nice scene. And another scene that that shows how good um Scarlett Johansson is as an actress is that um um so there's this scene where she's talking to Loki to get information out of him. Like he's in this prison that's suspended above a giant metal trap. She talks to him, and at one point Loki gets into her head saying things like he's basically calls her a monster because she is an assassin. She was an assassin. Um, and she seemed distressed by the shit that Loki was saying to her. Although most of it was like an act because she was trying to get information out of him, and then she was like, "Oh, okay, so that's your plan. You're planning to turn Hulk against the Avengers. Okay, thank you, bye." And I was like, "She played you, she played you, bitch. Suck it, Loki, suck it." And he was like, "Did I just get played?" He didn't say that, but the look on his face said it. But she was bothered by that discussion, though. She was. So yeah, I barely remember Sonic 06. It's for the best. Yeah, they do feel like Silver and Blaze, don't they? Where they don't love each other, but they care very much for each other. Like they're really close friends. Like Finn and Miles in Miles the Miles Morales video game. It's like that. They don't love each other, but they care very much for each other. That part led to a lot of discourse in the sequel. I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. But yeah, all the as Maple said, all the actors and actresses fit their roles like a glove. So not much to say on that. Anything else I can talk about? Pretty sure I covered everything. I think I covered just about everything. But the Avengers are all badasses. I love all of them. I can't name a single one I dislike. So anyway, negatives? Are there any negatives? Can't think of any negatives. I'm not saying that there aren't negatives to these movies. I just can't think of any. I can't readily think of any examples, you know? Maybe you guys can, because I can't. Oops. You log off for tonight? Oh, okay. Well, before you do, Scott, well, you weren't around to say this, but for the record, I actually like all four of these movies that I'm talking about, so I might as well tell that to you before you leave. I like all four of these movies that I'm covering in this rant stream. Captain America: The First Avenger, the Avengers movie, the first one, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Avengers: Age of Ultron. I like all these movies. But anyway, good night. Captain America's suit. I don't even remember what it looked like in this movie. I do not even remember what it looks like. The prologue. I don't know. The prologue. I guess it did feel a bit rushed. I don't know. Yeah, the beginning is a bit rough if you think about it, because they're establishing quite a bit in a short period of time. But honestly, it didn't bother me that much. Yeah, it would have been nice to see more of Hawkeye, but surprisingly, that didn't bother me all that much either. So, but yeah, I guess you could say the beginning was a little rough. That's really like they could have polished it a bit more, but really it didn't bother me all that much. Hawkeye could have been used a bit more. But again, he didn't bother. This didn't bother me that much either. Like I'm acknowledging that these are problems, but they're the kind of problems where it's just like, yeah, they're there, but for some reason they just don't bother me. It's that basically. Um, that's. But yeah, like really, this movie, I think it's just fine for the most part. How the hell could the Avengers talk with one another during the final battle without earpieces? Good question. I think this was fixed in the later movies, but yeah, that is a good question. Honestly, at one point, I noticed that, but I was like, yeah, whatever. It's just it's just movie logic. Sometimes things aren't going to make sense in the story. Because people aren't perfect. There are going to be some inconsistencies here and there, but that's okay. As long as they don't break the story, then it's fine. As long as there are things that you can hand wave away or just break, or that things that don't break the story, then whatever. They think there are folks out there who think they're clever and like to pretend that they work for Cinema Sins. Yeah, there's some people who just like to nitpick things for the sake of nitpicking. Stop doing that. Or if you're gonna do it, at least do it like Cinema Sins and actually be funny about it, or try to be funny. Because I know some people don't like Cinema Sins. I like them, but I know some people don't. But yeah, yeah, the Avengers movie is pretty good overall. Now let's get to the Winter Soldier. This one I like a little less than the other movies. The other three movies here. I don't know. I just like the other ones more. This one I like this one, but I just like the others more. I don't know why. I guess maybe part of it is because I don't like that there was. To be fair, this was meant to be a Captain America movie, but I guess I just didn't like having to like go from watching all the Avengers to going back to just Captain America and Black Widow. But that's just a subjective thing. I did want to watch these chronologically, so of course that was to be expected. But anyway, going. I can't spell today. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Oop. But yeah, let me just say that I did like this movie, although again, it's not my favorite movie of this series. The one that basically made everyone else in the world a Captain America fan. Am I just the only one that's? Am I the only one? Am I the only one out then? Because honestly, I like the first Captain America movie more than this one. So it's like I don't know. This is the movie that made people a Captain America fan. I'm like, the first movie did that for me. But okay, I guess that works. But yeah, Black Widow kicked ass in this one. This movie did a great service to Black Widow and Nick Fury. Oh, and Agent Hill as well. She kicks ass here too. But yeah, basically this movie focuses on Captain America and Black Widow, but a bit more. It's really about Captain America. Um, Basically parts of his past come back to haunt him. Remember his best friend Bucky who died died all those years ago, about 70 years ago. Yeah, he didn't die. His body was found by people in the Hydra Foundation, what the fuck ever you want to call them, and his body was put in stasis, just like Captain America's. And then he became an assassin. He was called the Winter Soldier. Um, yeah, but you don't know who the Winter Soldier is until later in the film, which makes sense because why would you reveal that now? Right at the beginning, I mean. So so yeah, Captain America and Black Widow have to deal with that guy along with Nick Fury, and that guy is working with some man named Pierce. His last name was Pierce. Um, who was one of the higher ups at Shield, at the company Shield, and apparently Hydra, the organization that we all thought had been, you know, eliminated in the first Captain America movie. No, no, they weren't eliminated. See, what happened was that the Swiss scientist that worked by Red Skull, the the American army or whatever took him in, which was a bad decision, but they didn't know that at the time. Shield took him in basically, um, and he worked for them, or at least pretended to work for them, but he was really re-establishing Hydra right under Shield. So there are plenty of Hydra employees in the Shield company. Like they like Hydra had grown so much over the years that quite a number of them were part of Shield, and I was like, oh shit. Oh, and the Swiss scientists made apparently preserved his mind in a machine, like in this giant network of supercomputers and shit like that. Old supercomputers, but supercomputers nonetheless. And yeah, and he ends up explaining all this shit to Captain America and Black Widow. Who had found him in like this abandoned army training camp underground, whatever. Like like he was right underneath the base, and yeah, that's how Captain America and Black Widow found out that Hydra had never actually died. So they they never actually died. I mean, so yeah, shit happens. Oh, Nick Fury is apparently shot by the Winter Soldier. He was shot at one point, but it's Nick Fury. He's going to be very hard to kill. He seemingly died, but he actually faked his death. He survived, but he had quite a number of injuries, like a perforated liver, a collapsed lung, along with some other damage. But but yeah, he faked his death because he he was seen flatline in the hospital room, but he actually didn't die. But yeah, um, but yeah, like Hydra's close to like basically they're close to like taking over the world because at one point, okay, so there was this project called that was run by Shield called what was it, Project Insight, Operation Insight, one of those two, where there were these three big ass helicarriers that had these big ass ships that had a shit ton of weapons connected to satellites, and these weapons could literally target and eliminate anyone on the planet. So it's like, okay, cool. Now we can have New World Order this way. Anybody's a problem, we just yeet them out of existence with our guns. And it's like Nick showed this to Captain America at one point. Captain America was like, "No, bitch, don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad. It's bad. That is bad, and you should feel bad. This won't lead to order. It will lead to war." Nick Fury at first disagrees, but he actually agrees with him, and that's why he got shot because Shield was onto him. Sad face, but because there was this one scene with Nick Fury trying to avoid all these men coming after him. He almost did it, but then the Winter Soldier got him, unfortunately. Well, at first, but then Nick, escaped by literally using a laser device or whatever to dig a hole into the ground to escape because his car had been overturned. And but the Winter Soldier found him and shot him through an apart to through Captain America's apartment because Nick Fury went there. He had gone there, and Captain America found him there. So, but but no, but don't worry, Nick Fury didn't actually die. Like, no, he didn't die. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so the Hydra organization, they're about to fire these big ass they're about to fire these weapons from the big helicarriers. They're literally about to like just wipe out so many people on the planet. They were about to do that, but Captain America and the others stopped them. Oh, and there's a scene where Captain America fought Bucky, um, and he had to do it while trying to override the satellite, which was not easy, but he managed to do it. And so not just the satellite, the whole program. So then Agent Hill used they used the override to hijack the fucking ships, and then Agent Hill used those to you targeted like targeted those ships, and then with all the shield's weapons, and then destroyed them. Captain America didn't die though, and neither did Bucky. Oh, but they did have this one last fight after that point. Just before, just while the ships were being shot at, they did have one last fight, but Captain America refused to fight back because he believed that the real Bucky was still in there somewhere. That his friend was still somewhere in there because his friend had been brainwashed apparently. But Captain America refused to fight back, but then they fell out of the ship, and then Bucky saved Captain America from drowning and then walked off. So there's that. And yeah, um, Nick Fury's back at it. Um, oh, but unfortunately, he had to help Captain America and the others destroy Shield because Shield had apparently been a part of Hydra. You know, so they all had to go. So now, now like they had to start a new company. But yeah, that's how the movie ends. I'm sorry that was a shitty summary. But yeah, Nick Fury and Black Widow got a lot of badass moments here, as well as Captain America. I'm just reading through the chat. Okay, so yeah, my opinion was unpopular. But some people who do prefer the first Captain America movie. I'm sorry, I prefer the first one too. This one was good, but I just like the first one more. But apparently Black Widow and Nick Fury were handled better here than in Iron Man 2, according to Maple. I've never even watched Iron Man 2, but apparently in Iron Man 2 they were so irrelevant and they were only there to tease the Avengers. I never believed Nick Fury was actually dead. Me neither. But that's mostly because, you know, I had watched the newest Spider-Man film, so I was like, this guy's not gonna die because if he actually dies, then how is he gonna show up in those films? Because again, it's Nick Fury we're talking about. It's Nick Fury. Nick Fury. He's not gonna die that easily. It's Nick Fury we're talking about. Anyway. Hi Andre, what's up? This isn't freedom, this is fear. Exactly. But apparently, all hail Hydra. It's ill. Ill. I'm with you until the end of the line. Yo. Who said that? I forgot. I legit forgot. But I do remember that line being said. I just can't remember who said it. Okay, but anyway. But yeah, that's the story. Okay, positives. Well, as Maple said, Nick Fury and Black Widow shined here. And they had a lot of good moments. They did. Along with Captain America, but that's to be expected. So, yeah, they kicked ass. Then Nick Fury has some badass scenes. Black Widow has some badass scenes. Captain America has some badass scenes. Oh, there was this one scene where that really shows how good Black Widow is as a spy. Like the Winter Soldier was apparently such a strong assassin that he was a strong assassin, and Black Widow actually managed to tag him a few times and get a few hits on him. And I was like, okay, see, Black Widow. You know why I love her now? She fucking tagged an assassin several times. Unfortunately, she couldn't defeat him. Captain America actually was able to knock him down quite a number of times. But Black Widow still held her own. I was like, okay, Black Widow, let's go. Let us go. And the assassin was like, oh wow, she actually got my goggles. She actually shot my goggles. Okay, this is gonna be fun. He didn't say that, but his face showed it. So I was like, okay, Black Widow, let's go. Yeah, yeah, Black Widow just kicked ass here. She kicked a lot of ass in the last film. Then this film, she kicks even more ass. That was probably my favorite hairstyle of Black Widows as well. Like she even managed to trick the assassin at one point with the recording from her communications device. That made her think she was that made the assassin think she was behind the car, but she wasn't. And then she got to jump on him. And I kind of saw it coming, but it was still funny because that's Black Widow. She is one hell of a spy. And Nick Fury had great scenes too. Like again with the whole car chase scene. That was a really good scene. Where Nick Fury just kicked so much ass. It was a good thing he was running a car that was souped up with technology. Because if he hadn't been, then that would have been bad. And he was so close to getting away too, but the Winter Soldier just had to stop him. Yeah, the fight scenes were actually really good. And this movie really does show, this movie really does showcase Captain America's hand-to-hand combat skills. Like he had really good hand-to-hand combat skills in this film. He literally managed to hold his own against the Winter Soldier multiple times. And I was like, okay, Captain America. Not to mention that he also took out some other criminal on board a ship who actually had good hand-to-hand combat skills too, but Captain America went and clapped his ass. He struggled at first, but then once he took the shield off, he just clapped his ass. And I was like, Captain America is too good. He is too good. Yeah, this had a lot of good hand-to-hand combat scenes from Black Widow and from Captain America and from the Winter Soldier. I was like, where did you guys learn how to fight like this? It's like they were trained, obviously. But still, it's like, damn. So far, I feel like this movie had the best. This movie really does have one of the best set of hand-to-hand combat scenes I've ever seen, if not the best. Oh yeah, the elevator scene. Captain America literally took out all of those men. He took out all of those men who were surrounding him in the elevator. They all had him surrounded, and he took all of their asses out. Like at first, like there was just a few men, like it was just him by himself. But then more and more men started getting into the elevator, and Captain America was like, I sense something wrong here. Something's wrong here." Like he could sense that the men were about to attack him. Then he went and just kicked all their asses. Although he did struggle a few times, he still managed to do it. And I was like, "Damn, Captain, let's go." He almost lost too, but he managed to do it. He managed to kick ass. Oh, I forgot to mention the one like the first Avengers movie. There was this one scene where Black Widow was literally she was tied up and she was in some sort of interrogation, and then I can't remember who called her, but they needed her, because for an Avengers mission. Then she was like, "Ugh, fine, hold on, let me take care of this first." She goes to just claps all the men in that interrogation room, and then she just gets her heels and then walks off. And that was the one scene that made me love Black Widow as a character. And this movie here, The Winter Soldier, went and made me like her even more. I was like, Black Widow is too good. I love her. Suck it, Captain Marvel. This is how you write a female character. Anyway, um, but yeah, I guess I just covered the second point. Great action scenes. The story. I actually like the story. This one probably, if I were to comment on the story, I think this one was probably better than the first two. But that's all I had to say about that point because I still like the other two more. I actually like this story more than the first two. But the overall movie, though, no, I like the other two more. If that makes sense? But yeah, I'd say the story was good. I mean, I like that Hydra never actually died, and that they were basically just rebuilding themselves on their shield. I actually like that. It was an interesting twist. So both Hydra and Shield had to be destroyed, and literally, I don't know why, but I do like the trope of having armies literally having people within the same army turn against each other because it's like, oh, who's the villain? Like, who do we trust? Who do we not trust? Like in Modern Warfare 2, where something like that happened, just give me Modern Warfare 2 vibes. I don't know why, I just like that trope. Where it's like, okay, now you can't trust your own men. What do you do now? But yeah, I did like the story. And I also like the conflict between Captain America and Bucky. To be honest, I always had a feeling that Bucky might not have died, but we never see him die. We see him fall off in the very first Captain America movie, but we never actually see him die. But but yeah, I didn't expect him to turn into the Winter Soldier. But I did like that conflict between Captain America and Bucky. Made going after the Winter Soldier a lot more personal for Captain America. And of course the characters were great. All the characters were great. Especially that what was that one guy that Captain America was running with at the beginning of the movie and who shows up later to help him out in in missions. I forgot what his name was. He was black and a bit shorter than Captain America, but he kicked ass. And he even had this cool fly suit, this flying suit. I liked him. We already talked about Black Widow and Captain America and Nick Fury and how awesome they are. The Winter Soldier was pretty cool too. We don't really see much of him though, but because which like we don't really see much of his character because again, it was Bucky, but he had been brainwashed, so it makes sense. But I still liked him as a character. So that is Falcon. Captain Falcon, you mean, aka Sam Wilson. Oh, okay. Yeah, did the movie mention Captain America watching Star Wars? I didn't know that. The Winter Soldier's like a better version of the Arkham Knight if you think about it. Basically, that's basically what it is. Where the Winter Soldier actually feels like a threat, and the Arkham Knight just feels like a nuisance. Not a very good nuisance. Not like Harley Quinn good. Not even that. Sorry. But but yeah. But yeah, like really. I like the story and the characters here. I also like what's his name? Pierce, one of the guy higher ups at Shield. He really felt like a threatening villain. The kind of guy you just want to see get shot. The guy you want to punch in the face. He was a very good villain. I legit wanted to punch him in the face. Like, I just want, and I was glad when Nick Fury ended his ass. I was like, thank you, Nick Fury, thank you. He deserved that because it, like, literally, he went and like literally when the Winter Soldier had shown up in in his house one night, and one of his, I think she was a maid or something. One of Pierce's maids literally showed up at the wrong time and saw the Winter Soldier there, sitting near her boss, Pierce, and he goes and he went and fucking shot her in cold blood. And I was like, yeah, I want this guy dead now. He literally killed one of his employees like that. I want him dead. I want him dead. I want him dead. Like, you shot a poor innocent woman like that. I'm like, and Nick Fury was like, no, I'm gonna just yeet you out of existence now. I do love how this movie is not afraid to tackle political themes and messages about not blindly trusting the government and authority. Exactly. And about how with great power comes great responsibility. Because let's be honest, giving an entity that many weapons cannot possibly be good. It can't. It just can't be good. But yeah, Sam Wilson was a cool character. I liked all the characters. Oh yeah, and that one guy who worked alongside Captain America and Shield, but then ended up having to betray him. And then I forgot what his name was. And then he ended up fighting Sam Wilson later as well. Um, he was a good character too. It just sucked that he was part of Hydra, but that made his portrayal all the better. What else? I also like Captain America's neighbor, that woman. I forgot what her name was, but she was pretty cool. Nick Fury is a badass. You don't want to mess with Nick Fury. You just don't. Even one of the Spider-Man films says this. It's like Nick Fury is not a man you want to keep waiting because he is dangerous. He is dangerous. Do not fuck with Nick Fury. Don't. You will not live to tell the tale if you fuck with him. I also feel like the title of the movie, The Winter Soldier, kind of represents Captain America more than the Winter Soldier himself. Yeah, that's the thing. The title feels like, I don't know why. It feels like the title is says Winter Soldier, but it's not really so much about the Winter Soldier. It's more about Captain America himself and about where he should stand. Because 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 his own company has hostiles in it. So he's like, well, fuck. What do I do? Where do I go? There's literally no one I can trust other than Black Widow and Sam Wilson and Nick Fury and Agent Hill. She's pretty and kicks ass, but that's about it. She mostly feels like an afterthought. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I wanted to see more of that character, but we don't see more of her. She was Captain America's neighbor, but I was like, why don't we see more of her? We could have seen more of her character. Because I wanted to see more of her. She and Captain America seem to have a pretty good friendship. And perhaps even a romantic interest in one another. Well, I could have been reading into that a bit too much, but we don't see much of her. And it even gets worse when you realize who she really is in Civil War. Oh no, that's the next movie, the fifth movie in the eight movies I'm trying to cover. Shit. So like it's right that Civil War takes place right after Age of Ultron. So fuck. To be honest, these movies really had no idea what to do with Sharon Carter. Sharon Carter, that was her name. Okay. They had no idea what to do with him. To do with her. Yeah, that's the thing. This movie didn't felt like it didn't know what to do with her. because she shows up right after Nick Fury gets shot in Captain America's apartment and helps Captain America out a bit by getting Nick Fury medical attention. But and then she shows up later and helps and at least tries to help um Shield take down Hydra. Good Shield employees, I mean, she tries to help them take down the Hydra employees. But that's it. Like we have only two scenes with her where she kicks ass, and that's it. I haven't seen Civil War. No, I remember I've only seen like the first two movies in this whole series. Out of all eight movies, I've only seen the first two, so I haven't seen Civil War, which I will watch. Probably right after this rant stream, or I'll probably watch it right after this rant stream because I want to like cover the next four movies tomorrow. That's a lot of movies to watch in a very short time. I know, but I'm gonna do it. But anyway, um, good music. I mean, not much to say on that. I don't know what else to say there. But yeah, all the characters are great. Good music. What else? Am I forgetting anything? Good acting. I particularly liked Bucky's acting. He really did feel like somebody who who was brainwashed, but was struggling with being separated from who he once was. Kind of like Clint Barton in the first Avengers movie. It felt like that. But everyone's acting was great. I like Black Widow's acting as well as Captain America's. Like, and their friendship really blossoms here. They have a lot of nice scenes together where their trust in each other, deepens. Because really, they have no one else to trust other than Sam Wilson, Nick Fury, and Peggy Hill. They had literally no one else to trust because Shield was after them, Hydra was after them, everyone was after them. So it's like, fuck, what do we do? Well, you know what? I'm not afraid to turn our own weapons against ourselves, as Maple pointed out in the chat earlier. Civil War is really good, but I had issues with the villain and Sharon Carter, along with Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't come as a surprise to me. He really doesn't come as a surprise to me in that movie. That's the first movie he shows up in, apparently. The first Avengers movie, or Avengers related movie. But but yeah. I haven't seen but yeah, I've seen only the first two Avengers related movies. So Captain America, the first Avenger and the first Avengers movie. But I know what happens at the end of Endgame because Far From Home starts right. Spider-Man Far From Home starts right from where Endgame ended. So I know what happens at the end of Endgame. So it's not really a spoiler to me if people point out that, oh, there are people that all the Avengers died in Endgame. I was like, yeah, that's not really a surprise to me because I watched Far From Home that deals with the aftermath of that. Of course, you still have Nick Fury and Agent Hill there. It's just everyone else is gone. But anyway. Oh, Black Panther appeared in this. Oh, I didn't know he appeared in Civil War. Some Spider-Man movies have officially come to Disney Plus. I haven't heard of that. But anyway, yeah, Tom Holland apparently appears in Civil War for only 15 minutes. That's it? For only 15 minutes? Ugh. But again, I can't say I'm too surprised because a similar thing happens in Homecoming, where the movie does revolve around Spider-Man because it's one of his movies, of course. But it's like you feel that movie just did not do a good service to him. I covered this in my rant stream, but it felt like it felt like the Avengers featuring, or not the Avengers, not even the Avengers, Iron Man featuring Spider Man and not Spider Man. Does that make sense? But they fixed this issue with Far From Home and um No Way Home. Although to be fair, at that point the Avengers weren't even around anymore, so it's like, what else could they do? But anyway, this is one of those Captain America movies where actions speak louder than words. Exactly. But yeah, good acting all around. Good acting all around. Negatives? I cannot think of any. Can you guys think of any? Because I can't. I can't wait to talk about Age of Ultron though, because it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna love talking about that one. I have quite a bit to say on that one because that one is awesome. But anyway, in my opinion, anyway. Uh, but yeah, negatives. I can't think of any in particular. I guess I would have liked the Winter Soldier to have a bit more focus because the movie's named after him, but he doesn't have as much focus as I feel he should have had. To be honest, Spider-Man's cameo in Civil War was a really good introduction overall, and I honestly preferred him in that movie than Homecoming and Far From Home. That's fair. He's really at his best in No Way Home, which everyone loves, and I'm like, it's a great movie, but I think it's slightly overrated, if I'm gonna be honest. But that's just me. It's a great movie, don't get me wrong, but it's like I think people are giving it a bit too much credit. Anyway, I knew Nick Fury wasn't really dead either. That I wasn't surprised by. But I didn't know Bucky was the Winter Soldier. I knew he wasn't. I knew he probably wasn't dead, but I didn't know that he would become the Winter Soldier. So that actually threw me off. But then again, I'm not really much of a Marvel fan, so I probably wouldn't have seen that one coming. So so yeah, I guess that's one negative. There were a few predictable twists. Oops. I'll be right back. I brought two water bottles in here, and I have not even drunk from either one. Wow. Okay. Maybe there are a bit too many contrivances and quick fixes to get characters out of situations. Probably. Actually, I did get that feeling a few times in the movie. I can't remember. I don't remember specific instances, but there were a few times where it's like, "Oh, how convenient that the characters got out of the situation like that." Cannot remember any single instances though, but I did get a bit of that from this movie. Yeah, Captain America is a pretty simple fighter. He has a shield and he has hand-to-hand combat skills and super strength, and that's it. So, like, his body is physically his body is, physically augmented. So he's basically a Master Chief, but from Marvel. Like, that's basically what he is. But anyway, yeah, he's pretty simplistic. And plus his shield is cool. Like, I remember when I was more interested in Marvel, I actually wanted to have a shield like that. I was like, oh my god, his shield is so cool. I want one of those. And no joke, there was like this, I forgot what this, there was this one DS game called, this was back when I was interested in Marvel. There was this one DS game called Marvel Ultimate Alliance or whatever, and I played Captain America quite a bit in that game, along with Spider-Man on my DS. I had a lot of fun playing those characters, along with others like the Hulk. I can't remember what other characters were there, but it was a pretty cool game. I still have the case for it, but I don't have the game anymore. Well, the case is at my cousin's house, but I don't know what happened to the game. I'd given all my DS games to my cousin, so I have no idea. She has a few of them, but she lost a few of them, so. But anyway. No, I haven't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I haven't seen any of them. But yeah, that's really it for The Winter Soldier. Despite the few twists and plot contrivances, overall it was a good movie. Okay, Avengers: Age of Ultron. I loved this movie. It's probably my favorite out of. I don't know. I feel like to me, actually, I like this one even more than the first Avengers movie. Believe it or not, I actually like this one more. But Age of Ultron was so cool. Like it's just so awesome. I loved it. I just loved it. I wish I had recommended to those to you before. That's okay, Maple. But I'm fine with just the Avengers and the Spider-Man movies. I don't need to watch anything else. I don't really care about Marvel all that much. But but yeah, it's nice to have. Like, see, part of the reason why I decided to watch the Avengers movie was so that I could have some sort of context for Far From Home. The Spider-Man movie Far From Home, because I hadn't watched the Avengers movies, so I had no idea about the blip. That one phenomenon that caused some characters to age 5 years because of the shit that happened in Endgame. So I was like, I wonder I wonder how the movie got to that, how the movie started at that point. So that's part of the reason why I'm watching the Avengers movies. Also, another part of the reason is because I watched the first Avengers movie, so I was like, why not watch the rest? And I'd watched the first Captain America movie too, so I was like, okay, why not watch all of them? Might as well. Wait, Age of Ultron is actually the most divisive of the Avengers movies? What? Am I again the odd man out? I actually like this movie a lot. But yeah, it's basically okay, so I think that this one I could probably summarize the best. And it helps that it's the most recent one I've watched. But basically, Tony Stark develops this AI called Ultron, which turns on him, unsurprisingly, and fucks shit up, and the Avengers have to stop him. But unfortunately, Ultron enlists the help of twins, these twins, I don't even know why I'm saying two twins, these twins who are scientific, who have been scientifically experimented on. He enlisted their help. One has telekinesis, the other has super speed. Oh, and the one that has telekinesis can also do mind control, which she actually uses on the Avengers. She used on the Avengers multiple times. Um, except for Hawkeye, because like I'm not going to that shit again. It's like, nah, bitch, nah, I ain't doing that shit again. Nah. So he avoided it, but she got everyone else, and that fucked the Avengers up. But they all came back against Ultron. Of course, they had to enlist Jarvis's help. You know, the UI that uh Iron Man had, Tony Stark had built. Um, so yeah, a lot of shit happens in this movie. Um, but yeah, Ultron, basically an AI that went out of control, and the Avengers had to stop it. And the superhero twins had got a chance to help as well. One of them died, unfortunately. He sacrificed himself to save the Hawkeye and this kid that Hawkeye was trying to save. And it was a sad scene. He was shot through the body multiple times. Um, and the telekinesis girl was pissed off. She was pissed off. She went right up to Ultron's robotic body and just basically fucked it up. Ripped his heart right out. She was like, "Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. You got my brother killed, bitch." But yeah, the twins were enemies at first, but then they became allies. And even though the brother died, well, the sister ended up actually at the end of the movie. The sister Jarvis, who who at one point in the movie, his 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 program was put into this body that this Korean scientist had created, and he basically and it was meant to be a way to stop Ultron. But like most of the Avengers were against it, but then Tony Stark was like, "No, it's the only way. We have to take on Ultron this way." Because the Avengers didn't want a repeat of, they didn't want a second Ultron. But fortunately, Jarvis didn't turn out to be a second Ultron. So so yeah. Um, and there's a city, the twins' home city. I forgot what the name was, but so Ultron was trying to lit. He tried to lit that city, like tried to cut a hole in that city, like cut around it or some big part of it. So try to cut a chunk off and bring the entire rock up, and then he was going to make that rock fall, and the impact would destroy the Earth. Like Ultron literally wanted to wipe out humanity and start over. He was like, "Let's make another Noah's Ark," and the Avengers were like, "No." It's like, "How about no?" So they took his ass out. He believed that annihilation was going to save the human race. That they were flawed and that they needed to evolve. So well-intentioned extremist much, although I wouldn't even call him well-intentioned. He was just an extremist, period. But yeah. So Tony Stark fucked up. Unfortunately, everyone stopped the AI. We got four new Avengers. Sam Wilson showed up and helped out. Um, Actually, no, I don't think he helped out at all. I don't remember. I do not remember. I literally just watched the movie. I do not remember. This other black guy did help out. He was in the second Iron Man suit, and he helped Iron Man with all the fighting all the they like all the robots that Ultron had summoned into the city that were just terrorizing the city. The Avengers all had to stop him, Ultron and his army, which they managed to do, fortunately. But Sam Wilson does appear at the end of the movie, though. Anyway, Queen Jarvis, I forgot what that girl's name was. The one with telekinesis. I literally forgot. And she shows up, and who else? There was this fourth character. Shit. Cannot remember, but there were basically four new people that want to um join the Avengers. They were recruits. What was the fourth one? Damn, I cannot remember. Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch. Wanda, that was her name, right? So Wanda, Jarvis, Sam Wilson, and there's this one more person who wanted to be who was a recruited who was a recruit for the Avengers. I cannot remember what his name was. Fuck. Why can't I remember? Shit. There were four of them. I remember there being four recruits. Who's the fourth one? I can't remember. Shit. Oh my god. Okay. They gave your team lost again, Maple? Damn, that sucks. And they were one strike away from winning. Oof. Oh, so that's why you don't remember much of the movie because the movie came out the same weekend of your senior prom and just before graduation. No wonder. Oh, so Scarlet Witch was okay, so she was originally from the X-Men? Huh. Honestly, I forgot about the X. Literally, I don't remember much about the X-Men. Literally, the only two people I remember from the X-Men were Wolverine and Storm. I think they were part of the X-Men. Everyone else I cannot remember. I legit cannot remember. I remember the X-Men, I just don't remember all of them. It's like, because again, I haven't touched Marvel in a long ass time. So as a kid, I was more involved in Marvel stuff, mainly Spider-Man stuff and Superman stuff. But like that's it. Like, and then I just stopped touching Marvel stuff. I don't know why. I was like, I'm gonna stop. But but yeah, I do remember the X-Men though. Damn, I need to get back into Marvel. Like, I'm getting nostalgia. Because Wolverine was actually one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe. Like, I don't know why I stopped. I don't know why I stopped watching Marvel. It was really mostly Marvel shows that I was just watching, along with a few of the movies, like, and the games. Like, the games, the movies, a few of the movies, and a lot of the TV shows. I didn't really touch any comic books, except for a few online ones. But I did have an interest in Marvel stuff when I was a kid, but then I stopped caring. DC stuff I almost never cared about, except for Teen Titans and to a lesser extent Batman, but that was it. And a bit of the Green Lantern as well. I watched a bit of him, but that's really it. Oh yeah, and Superman as well. So it's like yeah, I did touch a bit of DC stuff as well, but it was mainly Marvel I touched on. I bothered with because which makes sense because Marvel's the more popular company, but whatever. Anyway, sorry, I digress. But yeah, that's the story. And AI goes out of control, and the Avengers stop it. What is one Avengers movie or superhero movie you would put on the relevant plus? I don't even know. I don't really know. Um, I don't know. I can't. I don't think I can name a single irrelevant superhero movie I've watched because to me they're all relevant, at least somewhat. Granted, some of them suck, but I'm sorry, but some of them do, or at the very least, just aren't good. But um, but yeah, like I can't. I don't think I can name one that was really irrelevant. But you really love Scarlet Witch. Your favorite female character in the MCU? Oh wow. Maybe Black Adam. Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. I don't care about that movie. I don't care about Black Adam. I didn't even know he existed until that movie came out. I was like, "Oh, he exists," which is weird because I don't it's even though I barely touched DC stuff over the years, I didn't know about DC. Like I didn't know some basic things about DC. I knew about people like Flash, Green Lantern, Superman, Batman, Lex Luthor. So like even though I didn't touch on DC stuff very much, I didn't know about those characters. But Black Adam I did not know anything about. I was like, wait, who? Like who's Black Adam? Wait, I never heard of this character. Like I even knew about the Justice League. But Black Adam I was like, who? 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 Like I'm sorry, I just not to shade. I'm sorry I am meaning to shade. But like I had no idea who that was. Because I know, because I like, I can name several DC characters: Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Spider-Man. I'm not Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Lex Luthor, The Flash, and so on and so forth. But Black Adam, who? I'm just like, who? Black Adam ain't even black. Oh my god! I mean, in the recent movie, he is, but I don't know. I just don't care about that character. I mean, don't get me wrong, his movie was fine. I like this movie. It's just that it was just it's good. Well, sort of. It's just one of those movies where you like it once and then you don't watch it again or care about it. Like it's just like, oh, it's good, and then you just move on. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. The movie was just very whatever. That's the vibe I got from watching the movie. I think it's because of Black Adam's character. I feel like that's probably the reason why the movie felt like whatever. I think it was Black Adam's character that was the issue. I don't know if he's like that in the comics because I don't care much about DC stuff, but especially Black Adam stuff. But it's like I feel like his character kind of put me off throughout that movie. I don't know. I don't know. The movie was just very mid. I honestly found the side characters more interesting than Black Adam. I'm not gonna lie. I found the side characters more interesting than Black Adam. I even found the human character, like the ones that had no superpowers, like the boy and his mom, and and their friends. I found them more interesting than Black Adam. Black Adam to me is just a boring character in that movie. I was like, who cares? I'm not trying to. I'm not. I'm literally not trying to be mean, but it's like when you watch this movie, you're just like, okay, he's Black Adam, he kicks ass, who cares? That's it. That's just it. The movie's just whatever. I'm sorry, but that's just how I felt. And I'm sure a lot of people felt that way. Because I'm glad to know that I wasn't the only one who felt that way. Because that's just how the movie felt to me. It just felt very mid. It was just mid. It was okay. Yeah, the post-credit scene with Superman was just like, why was that there? I felt like that was pointless too. Because I was like, oh, so Superman is going to challenge Black Adam? Okay, who cares? Who cares? I was like, oh, okay, cool. But who cares? Like, I'm sorry, but it's like it doesn't help that I did not know who Black Adam was when I watched that movie. I was like, but anyway, the actor for Superman said he was back as Superman. Then a month or two later, he was like, "Nah, I'm actually not coming back." Right? Exactly. It's like I can see why because again, that post credit scene was so underwhelming. Or where Black Adam's like, you know what, Superman, I'm not afraid of you. If you want me, come get me. And I was like, oh, cool. I literally did not care. I'm sorry. That's just that movie was just very whatever. But we're not here to talk about that. I digress. I should do a rant stream on that. Although that would probably require that I watch the movie again, and I don't want to do that because, like, why would you watch it more than once? It's just one of those movies where you just watch and it's like, okay, I'm moving on. Maybe I could cover it. Maybe I could cover it with the Venom movies. I could probably do that. Why don't I do that? Like, why don't I add the Black Adam to that list? But I'm not gonna bother trying to watch the movie again. I don't have the patience for that. But or maybe I will. Depends. Maybe I'll get it on Amazon. I don't know. But anyway, who is Black Adam? I feel like that's the question a lot of people probably ask themselves when when they went to see the movie. 'Cause I literally did not know who Black Adam was. Like I wasn't new to DC, but I was like, how do I know about all these classic DC characters but not Black Adam? 'Cause I legit did not know he existed. I was like, who? But anyway, basically the DC movies coming out this year are the late ones for this current universe, and a brand new universe is on the way. Why does that give me bad vibes? Because I feel like we what we need is better movies, not more universes. Because the whole comic book universe or whatever, I feel like it's already big enough as is, and by adding more and more, I feel like it's going to dilute the quality of all the movies that are yet to come. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I don't get why people were raving about Black Adam when it came out. There are so many better movies or even DC movies out there than that. Exactly. Exactly. Black Adam is just very, very mid. It's okay. Which is sad. I was actually a bit disappointed when I went to watch that movie because people were like, "Oh my god, this movie's gonna be awesome." I'm like, "Okay," I watch it and I'm like, "Are you sure?" But anyway, back to Age of Ultron. So the positives. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I could make fun of Black Adam all day. This is so basic. It's so basic. But anyway, positives. Um, well, there are plenty of great action scenes. This so far, I'd say this movie has. I think this movie ties with The Winter Soldier for the best action scenes so far. Like for the first four adventure-related movies, I would say Age of Ultron and The Winter Soldier tie because The Winter Soldier had so many good action scenes, and Age of Ultron had great action scenes too. Like so, especially the final battle, that was so good. Like just all of the all of the Avengers and the twins with superpowers joining together and just kicking ass against the robot army. Like that was just so good. I loved it. All of them were so badass. Especially those when there was this one scene where they were all like in the tower with their backs against each other, and then the robot army was closing in on them. And then they all just went and just kept kicking ass, and I was like, "This is so good! Yes, let's go!" And then Ultron shows up himself. But then like Iron Man, Jarvis, and Thor all shoot laser beams at him and fuck up his body. And I was like, this is good. I love this. I love this. And of course, you have plenty of awesome. I really feel like Thor and the Captain America's chemistry throughout the movies. I feel like it's really been developed. It's been developing because they have several awesome team attacks in this movie, where basically where Thor would either hit Captain America's shield with his hammer or just hit against Captain America's shield and cause a shockwave to knock out all the enemies in the area. Like their team attacks are just so good. Like the team attacks at the end of Sonic 2. I feel like those are it's like those where the team attacks are just awesome. And there's also this like in the very first scene of the movie where you see all the Avengers like trying to storm this base in some snowy forest. Like it was awesome seeing them all fight alongside each other. And there's even this one cool shot where you see all of them in one frame kicking ass, and I was like, yes, 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 let's go. Well, there's going to be a movie called Superman Legacy. Huh. Yeah, Hawkeye shines a lot more here as well. Imagine being the bald superhero that doesn't have a good movie, bro. Can never be me. I got this Black Adam like that. No, actually do it because you're not wrong. Like, dude, you're 6 foot. You're 6'5" or 6'6" or whatever. I forgot what Dwayne the Rock Johnson's height is. I forgot what it was. But dude, you're like 6 foot. I think he's 6'6". You're like 6'6", and you got a really strong body, and you have a shitty movie. Oof. Yeah. Oof. I just feel bad for Dwayne Johnson. Poor guy. Oh no. Oof. Okay, but anyway, yeah, great action scenes all around. Yeah, I'm sorry your team's sucking, Maple. I know how hard. I know it sucks having a sports team that you have so much faith in, and yet they keep disappointing you at every turn. Damn, it's funny, but at the same time, it's just really sad. It's funny, but it's sad. It's just funny and sad at the same time, like Spider-Man 3. But anyway, um, let's see. Plenty of great action scenes. Uh, Great characters. I like the twins. I like how they went from being villains to misunderstood villains to badasses who actually helped save people. Like they redeemed themselves. They meant well, but their actions were fucked up at the beginning. But they ended up redeeming themselves later, which I enjoyed. And one of them even tries to be one of them is even a recruit for the Avengers, becomes a recruit. So whereas the other one dies, but I mean it was a heroic sacrifice. I just wish it hadn't happened. Like I didn't want the guy to die. He got shot. But yeah, Scarlet Witch, that was her name. aka Wanda. She was a great character. She definitely progressed throughout this movie, through just like her brother did. So yeah, they were good characters. The Avengers were all great, of course. Hawkeye had more time to shine here. Um, Black Widow was her awesome self. The Hulk, I actually think the Hulk actually developed here because he did lose control at one point, but that was really because of the Scarlet Witch. But um, but you can tell that he's actually developing. Not only is he developing a relation, not only is he his relationship with Black Widow is developing, but he's also learning to better control, you know, his you know, the Hulk, the monster inside him. Granted, he was already learning to control it, but like he'd already been learning to control it, but like Black Widow made it even easier. But she has a special connection with him, with both the Hulk and with Bruce Banner. So the Hulk definitely, I actually like his character here. I just felt sad that he eventually he isolated himself at the end of the movie. where Black Widow was trying to tell him to come back, but he was like, no. He was like, nah, fam, I'm out. Sorry. And then he just yeeted himself away on the ship. I felt so bad for him. Like, just imagine having something that it's both a blessing and a curse. You can protect people, but at the same time, you can end up destroying shit. And you can never let your emotions run wild because if you do, that's what happens. Like, I feel so bad for the Hulk. I mean, I always knew this about him, but like this movie here just made me feel really sorry for him. It's like not being able to be angry. That's just awful. Kind of reminds me of this one character in the Encanto movie who had control over the weather, and she literally had to bottle up her emotions so that the weather wouldn't, get all bad and shit. It feels like that here. And there are other characters with superpowers like that where if they lose control of their emotions, shit happens. And I feel sorry for those characters. And the Hulk is no exception. Yeah, the Hulk and Iron Man fight was really cool. It was really cool. I like that one. But the Iron Man literally had to upgrade himself. He had to become a big ass robot to take on the Hulk. And the Hulk was actually a pretty even match for him. But he managed to defeat the Hulk, surprisingly. Well, it's not really all that surprising, but still, like again, the Hulk is pretty much unstoppable, almost unstoppable. But Iron Man managed to do it, and he punched. And the funny thing is that he punched the Hulk in the same way the Hulk punched Thor in the first Avengers movie. So it's like now you get to have some of that karma. Like Iron Man literally just punches the Hulk like this, and that's it. After pinning him down, so it's like boom, and that's it. I was like, okay, karma. Yeah, the CGI was pretty noticeable with this movie, but I didn't mind it all that much. I mean, Far From Home was even worse in that regard, if I'm going to be honest. But anyway, like Far From Home, they really went all out with the CGI in that movie. Like, holy shit. Anyway, hashtag fuck Mysterio. That's going to be trending. Just watch. Anyway, but yeah, like I liked all the characters here. Ultron himself was actually a good character as well. He felt like a robot but like a human at the same time. As well as Jarvis. That like they both were good characters here, I would say. Whereas even though they were robots, you could tell they had genuine feelings. But Ultron was the fucked up one, whereas Jarvis was the one that had the better morals. The CGI in the opening scene looked so fake and cartoonish. Yeah, it did. You're not wrong. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. 'Cause you're not. Okay, anything else? Oh, I'm just reading the chat. I like Quicksilver in this, but I much prefer the one from the X-Men movies. Fair. Your team is the equivalent of Sonic 06, just hitting complete rock bottom as a franchise. Wow. Anyway, I mean, the music was good, but again, like, I don't have much to say about the music because I don't find a lot of it memorable. Because again, most of it is just lyricless. You just have sounds, you just have music, and that's it. But the music works. Like, again, I can't name a track that doesn't fit the movie. So the music did its job. Anything else I can say? The story. I actually like the story here because even though it's really nothing new, because we all have. I mean, there've been plenty of stories with a man-made creation going nuts and basically turning against its owners to the point where its creators, I mean, to the point where its creators have to destroy it. This trope isn't new, but I do like the way the movie uses it though. So even though it's not new, who cares? Not everything has to be original. In fact, a lot of fiction isn't original. Most of it is not original. But what you have in pretty much every story, you what you have are just the same tropes and stuff used in different ways. So who cares if it's not completely original? As long as you use it in a way that's unique, then it's fine. The trope, I mean, or whatever trope you want to use. So even though the story isn't exactly groundbreaking or anything like that, it's cool. Actually like the story because Ultron again actually felt like a real character. He was also kind of funny too. Like it was weird. Like he was human at the same time he wasn't. He actually felt like somebody with an actual personality, and I love that. So yeah, I'd say the story was good, and it also had a good message about how if you don't use machines correctly, like they will turn on you. Like it like that's the thing is like you just have to be really careful with what you create because you could create something that could potentially doom the human race. So science and technology are powerful, but you gotta be careful with that shit. You gotta be careful with that shit. Oh yeah, and I also like that. I also like the drama that happened between the Avengers. You know, with them getting corrupted. Not well, sort of. I'll call it corrupted. Basically, like Scarlet Witch tagged them all with her mind control powers and made them all experience short-term PTSD. That's what I'm gonna call it. Making them experience nightmarish visions that basically fuck them up for a while, but they overcome. They recover. Hawkeye wasn't tagged though, because he was like, again, I'm not doing that shit. Sorry. It's like tagged Scarlet Witch with an arrow of his. It's like, no, sorry, I'm not doing that. You can fuck off. Not doing that again. But but yeah, I did like that part of the story, as well as the drama that was between all the Avengers. Um, it was mainly directed at Tony Stark because again, he was the one that caused this whole mess to happen, sort of. Um, like it was mostly on him. The twins were also partly responsible for it, but a lot of it was Tony's fault because again, he just designed Ultron. Um, but yeah, the Avengers do make up, and then they take down Ultron. Unfortunately, I think you said the guy's name was Quicksilver, the guy who can run really fast. Unfortunately, he died, but at least the Avengers were able to save everyone else in the city. Well, almost everyone else. So I saw one soldier getting shot down by one of Ultron's machines, but other than that, yeah. I'm sure there were also a few other casualties, but most people got out just fine, so yeah, the story did feel a bit overstuffed because quite a lot happens in this movie, but not to the point where you can't follow what's going on. Yeah, that's the thing. Our Ultron was funny and sarcastic, but it made sense because like it was Tony Stark was the one who created it, so of course there was going to be some similarity in personality. Although Tony Stark could have easily implemented a different personality. That was the one he wanted to put into the robot, so the AI, I should say, but whatever. So yeah. Anything else? Yeah, but yeah, I like the story overall. So far, I wouldn't say that any of the stories here were bad, but I might change my opinion once I get to Civil War, um, and everything after that point. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I can see that. I can see why people were underwhelmed by Ultron because the thing is that I had the feeling that I thought he was going to sound more scary and menacing, but he ended up being funny and sarcastic instead. I was like, oh, I thought he was going to be a lot more serious than that. But I actually didn't mind this. I found that twist refreshing because people were expecting a scary, menacing robot, or one who sounded a little scary and menacing and serious and shit. But no, you have somebody who's funny and sarcastic instead, and prone to anger. And I was like, I actually like that. I actually found that refreshing. I was like, I like that twist. So I actually liked Ultron as a character. In fact, I think that made him feel more human, actually, because the point of his character was that he just like he wanted he felt like a human in that he had actual emotions and didn't like the idea of being controlled by by humans, and he wanted to go and he wanted to make his own vision of human of salvaging humanity come true or whatever. I don't know. I guess I just felt like I just felt like he was actually a good character. Maybe I'm not describing it the best way I can, but I actually liked him as a character. He didn't need to be a typical scary, menacing robot. I thought he was just fine the way he was. This movie wasn't as dark as the trailer suggested it would be. Yeah, it really wasn't. I would say it was darker than the first two Avengers movies. Maybe not darker than the Winter Soldier. I feel like I don't know, I feel like both movies were pretty dark. Well, not super dark, but like darker than the first two, if I would say. That's what I feel like that's probably what I would say. So that's probably part of the reason why the movie had mixed receptions. Mixed reception. The Age of Ultron. Because Ultron ended up having a personality that people didn't expect. But honestly, I think that works in his favor because again, it makes him feel human. And I think that was the point, to show that Ultron, despite being an AI, still has feelings like anybody else. But maybe that's just me. That's just my take. The acting was great. I'd say literally every character had great acting. Even Ultron and Jarvis, because Jarvis felt like more of a robot than Ultron did, but at the same time he still felt he still felt like a human too. You know, so I would say the acting from all these characters was great. The ones that probably who probably tugged on my heartstrings the most were Hulk and probably Ultron himself, as well as Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Those are probably the most emotional characters in this film for me. Well, really, everyone had emotional moments, but those four were in particular. They particularly made me sad. I think they were just sad. Like to me, like those characters. I don't know. I guess I just found their stories the saddest. At least in that movie. Because Black Widow has a sad movie of her has a sad story of her own. Don't get me wrong. She has a sad story of her own. Which I mean which like the movie was which was referenced in like the first Avengers movie, and I feel like that's probably gonna be referenced more in her own movie, but yeah. Anyway, anything else I can say? Let's see. Character story, action scenes, music, acting. I think that's it. Okay. Any negatives? Okay, bye mom. Any negatives I can think of? Um, huh. Hmm. I don't. Hmm. I don't know why, but I'm having a hard time thinking of negatives in these movies. Maybe it's because I watch these movies like in such a short time frame that I probably didn't give myself enough time to fully process them, fully process my thoughts on them. I don't know. Which is why I normally try to watch movies. I normally try not to binge movies, but like I just didn't feel like I don't know, I just didn't feel like spreading out the movies. Anyway. Oh, okay. So that's what you're talking about, Maple. There was controversy surrounding Black Widow and her romance with the Hulk. Huh. I guess I can see why people would find that controversial because I don't even think that was hinted at. Well, maybe it was hinted at in the earlier movies. I don't know. I just feel like that was barely even a thing in the earlier movies, if at all. And then they went, and then they, and then they turned that shit up to 11 here. I don't know. But I guess people didn't want Black Widow to have a romance with the Hulk. I honestly thought she was gonna have a romance with Captain Rogers, Captain America. Why do I keep calling it Captain America? But I guess I guess it's just a platonic friendship, which is fine. I don't care. I'm fine with that. But I wasn't expecting her to have a romance with the Hulk. I remember many people complained about Black Widow's romance with the Hulk, especially the part where Black Widow called herself a monster. For some reason, many people thought that the reason Black Widow called herself a monster was because she couldn't have children. Yeah, that's right, because she was sterilized um during her graduation ceremony as an assassin. Like they forced her they literally just took away her fertility. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know why people find that controversial because Black Widow wasn't wrong to call herself a monster. Like she had a reason to call herself a monster. It was like she was trying to show Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, that she wasn't the only one who became a killing machine. That I mean that he was the only one who became a killing machine. She became a killing machine too. That's the point she was trying to make, and she wasn't wrong. It's like he like Bruce Banner's like I can't just settle down and have family with you. Like I just can't. It's gonna be it's gonna be hard for me. I'm a monster. I can't be happy. But Black Widow's like you're not the only one who's a monster. I'm a monster too. You're not the only one with blood on your hands, and I can't have children either because I've been sterilized or because I was sterilized. Sorry for my grammar. Anyway, um, so it's like she's not wrong. I guess she could have phrased it a bit better. I don't know, but I saw what she meant, and I was like, I don't see what's wrong with what she said. Like both of them can't have children. Both of them have killed quite a number of people, so she can relate to him that way. Of course, it's not the exact same thing, but she's not wrong in drawing that comparison. Like she wants to escape her past, so does the Hulk. Like I just so apparently this controversy led to Whedon. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Haas, whatever. That guy's name. He got chased off of social media due to the many angry tweets directed at him regarding Black Widow and ruined claimed that he ruined her. He did come back later on, but yeah, that was kind of fucked up. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I really fucking hate about social media where it's like if you do one thing that people are probably not gonna like, then they will chase you off the internet or send you death threats or whatever. And I'm just like, y'all need to go outside and touch some grass and leave these people alone. I don't like just leave the fucking guy alone, okay? Leave him alone. Leave him the fuck alone. Chasing him off social media like that. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like I hate when people do that shit. Stop doing that shit. And I guess it's worth mentioning that I'm just gonna say Whedon, I guess, was considered to be one of the more well-known feminist male writers because he had a rose gallery of badass women with shows such as Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, and Firefly. Oh, makes sense. I should probably watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer because I've heard good things about it, but I've never watched it. It's existed for years. I've just never cared to watch it, but I know about it. Firefly, I think I've heard of that, but I don't even remember what do you remember who that character is? But anyway, I guess people just had higher standards for him in that regard, but I don't know. I did feel bad for him until it was later revealed that he's an absolutely shitty person. Oh, uh-oh. That's not good. After this movie, he did reshoots for the Justice League movie, and the entire cast absolutely hated working with him. Oof. Oof. Well, that sucks. Even Gal Gadot, the actress for Wonder Woman, claimed he threatened to ruin her career if she didn't do everything he said to do. Wow. Oof. That guy, he was certainly busy, wasn't he? Man, getting chased off social media and then having an entire cast hate you. Oof. I mean, not hate you, but hate working with you. Well, some of them probably did hate him, but who knows? Oh, damn. Allegations of sexual assault and harassment? Ooh, ouch. Damn. I feel like the Justice League has always been irrelevant for me and not good. I won't comment on whether or not they're good or bad, but I kind of do agree that in that I just never cared for them. Like, like, I find Batman and Superman interesting on their own, but in the Justice League, when they're in the Justice League, I do not give a shit. I don't care that much about the Justice League. I just don't. I really do not. I've never cared very much for them. But the individual heroes themselves I'm interested in, but as a group I just don't care. And apparently and they were even referenced at the very beginning of the Black Adam movie. But but I was like, why? Because they don't even show up here. Well, Superman does, but that's it. And he shows up at the very end. And I was just like, okay, why are they here? Like, why are they here? But anyway, so yeah, to put it simply, Haas Whedon is a dick, and everyone wants to forget about him now. Oof, oof. I'd have to read up on all this because I don't want to just instantly judge a guy. But I'm not that I think you're lying. I don't think you're lying, Maple, of course. But you actually, now that I think about it, you did mention something like this in one of my rant streams before. I think you did mention something about that guy. But anyway, I'm just gonna do my own research on him, and and although to be honest, he probably is a douche. If he probably is a douche, because again, I don't think you're lying. It's just like I want to go and I want to go and read into this myself because I'm sorry, but it's just like for somebody who who was once a writer that people liked, for him to go and ruin his career like that, it's just like I gotta read up on this shit because it's just hard to believe. You know, it's like one of those stories where it's like I don't think you're lying, but like what the fuck? You have to go head out because you have to work early tomorrow. Okay, that's fine. We're pretty much done anyway. But as for negatives for Age of Ultron, I don't know. I mean, other than the controversy with Black Widow and the Hulk, I wouldn't even count that as a negative uh of the movie. But other than that controversy, I can't really think of any negatives. Oh, you mentioned it during the Toy Story stream. Oh, okay. But yeah, good night, Sluggy Man. A deleted scene had actually had Captain Marvel at the very end with the new team as a stunt double, but that was before main actress was even casted. Oh, huh. Oh yeah, the Thor subplot. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Um, yeah, the Thor subplot didn't really amount to much. I'm gonna just type that in. The Thor subplot didn't really matter all that much in the film. Like I felt like I mean it did have a purpose like because Thor needed it to he needed to go to some cave or whatever to go to re-experience his vision and realize, oh shit, there are six, I think six Infinity Stones. I can't remember what they're called, but like, so that going there to like that subplot did have a purpose, but it just didn't have as much of an impact on the film as it should have. Of all the subplots, this was probably the weakest one. I'm gonna be honest. Like it just barely had any sort of impact, and it did come out of nowhere. If I'm gonna be honest, like the other subplots had some sort of logical build up. This one was just like, oh, let me just leave the safe house for a moment and go and meet the scientist and go into this cave and then experience his vision again and then realize, oh, there are six stones and shit. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like it kind of did come out of nowhere. Like it came out of nowhere. It's like, why are we even doing all this shit? But anyway, I mean, there was a reason for it, but it just felt like it didn't have a proper build up, if that makes sense. The main issue with this movie overall is that it feels too much like another Marvel movie and not like a main event like the other Avengers movies. Uh, so I don't think you're wrong. To me, it still feels like an Avengers movie, but I do agree that it's like it that it doesn't feel as much of an it doesn't really feel like an Avengers movie as much as the first one did. If that makes sense, like it feels like less of an Avengers movie than the first one did. So you're not wrong there. So you're not there. I mean, you're not wrong there. So yeah, this movie felt like less of an Avengers movie than the first one did. But to me, it still feels like an Avengers movie. It just felt like it had. I agree with you that it did have a bit too much Marvel in it because again, you got Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and the Thor subplot leading to Ragnarok, and it's like it kind of does. That kind of did take away a bit from the whole theme of the Avengers. Like I don't know. I would have to agree with you there. Maybe I'm not expressing it as well as I can, but as well as I could. But like But yeah, this movie does feel a bit too. It feels like it doesn't feel. It feels like there's a bit too much Marvel in it. Civil War. I really do need to watch that one because that one does sound interesting because it's not the first plot where you have superheroes turning against each other and fighting each other. Because I've seen that happen. I like, of course, we've all seen that happen. Like, this isn't the first movie to do it, but I do find that trope interesting. So, so I'm looking forward to watching that movie. I don't know. I don't know, but they had decided to move the darker conflict with the Avengers with Civil War because DC was going to release Batman as Superman versus Superman around that time. Okay. Yeah, to be honest, this movie did feel like it did feel like it was trying to sequel bait other movies. I mean, granted, all the Avengers movies were like, okay, the Avengers will return here, Captain America will return here, and so on and so forth. That's pretty standard. But this one kind of did feel like it was introducing more than just the next Avengers movie, which is a bit off-putting. I'm not going to disagree with you there, Maple. It does feel a bit off-putting. But but yeah, but yeah, like as to me, this still feels like an Avengers movie. Maybe not as much as the first Avengers movie, but surprisingly, I like Age of Ultron more, or maybe just as much as the Avengers movie. I like it at least as much as the first Avengers movie. But I would say none of these movies are bad. It's just that this Age of Ultron is just one of the most divisive ones, if not the most divisive one. Civil War was basically the movie that tore apart the Avengers before Infinity War. Well, I can't wait to watch it. I think this movie was supposed to do that originally, and I can see that because the Avengers were at one point not a team. Like they were all they were all knocked down mentally and had problems trusting each other. Although again, it was mostly directed at Tony Stark, this mistrust and whatnot. But they were also but like there was also some drama between the other members as well. But yeah, like you could sense that this movie was originally going to do something like that. And maybe that's probably why maybe that's probably part of the reason why this movie got mixed reviews because because of the change in direction which kind of which unfortunately wasn't really stamped out in the movie as well as it should have been, but who knows. Marvel wants to do Civil War next to counter DC in their Batman or Superman movie. I think that's the problem with when you change plans like that through production. If you don't do it well, something like this can happen. I mean, I'm not gonna say that this movie was didn't do it well at all. It's just that like you could see that there was some of that left over. So it's like the movie didn't really erase that shit as much as it should have. The writers didn't erase that shit as much as they should have. So this was the result. So, yeah. To me, this still feels like an Avengers movie, but it kind of does have MCU vibes. It kind of does have a few MCU vibes. I really wish the Avengers had contained itself into just one storyline. Because when you start expanding into other universes, that can cause problems. Like to me, that can cause problems. I think the Avengers really should have just been its own thing and not try to where it's like, oh, you if you want to watch this movie, you gotta watch this Avengers movie first, or this Avengers related movie, and it's just like, stop doing that, please, stop doing that. I'm tired of that shit. It feels like you need to do your homework for movies nowadays than ever before, and it's just really annoying. Like sequel baiting is not necessarily a bad thing, but Marvel, you gotta calm down with that shit. You're overdoing it. You are overdoing it. You're overdoing it. I think you are overdoing it. And I think that's the problem with Marvel nowadays. They're branching out too much and doing too many projects, some of which end in failure, unsurprisingly. And it's just like y'all gotta. I mean, to be fair, to be fair, it's like Disney owns Marvel now, so I feel like Disney is really the ones doing this, not so much Marvel, but Disney. So I don't remember Marvel doing this much shit before, but then Disney went and made it worse. Maybe Marvel was doing it before Disney acquired them, but Disney is just not helping the problem. I really think Disney is making things worse. So, what can you do? But then again, I feel like this movie has aged better in hindsight after, since the movies that came after this that helped justify this movie's existence. Maybe. It's just kind of hard to be able to change the status quo that much, since this basically this was basically during the middle of everyone's story. Yeah, that's fair. I think Marvel now realizes they are doing that shit. That's why certain movies and shows are being pushed back now for more breathing room and to give more time to spend on them. Oh, that's true, actually. You did tell me about a few of these instances. So it feels like Marvel's actually starting to cut that shit down. And I'm glad they are, because I'm not against branching out in general. Like, I'm not against that idea. It's just that if you do it badly, this is what happens. This shit happens. Don't branch. Like, it's really goes back to the whole maxim of don't bite off more than you can chew. That's the problem that Marvel has. But they're working to fix it apparently. Fortunately, they are working to fix it. But it was a big problem they had before, where it's like they just branch out too much, and this is the shit that happens. Oh yeah, I remember you mentioned that Disney changed CEOs, which 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 explains quite a bit actually, because like the previous CEO is apparently just really bad, but now they have a new one and things are looking up. Because really, a good or bad CEO can make or break a company, obviously. So I'm guessing the 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 old CEO was the reason why Marvel was suffering. Because Marvel's not a bad company. I don't think they're a bad company. I think they're great. It's just that they lost their way at one point, unfortunately. But it looks like they're trying to stop it now because again, you don't want to do too much. You don't want to branch out too much or do too many projects at once. It never ends well. I never see attempts to do this end well. They don't end well because you can only do so much as humans. We can only do so much. Like if you branch out too much and do too much, this is what happens. Don't do this shit. But it's good that Marvel's getting their shit together. Marvel's at the point where they now know that the name alone isn't going to get people to see their content anymore. They have to put in as much work and quality as possible. That is a problem they had back then because back then they didn't really put as much quality in their products as they should have. They were relying on just brand names. They stopped that though. Thankfully they did because people just were just getting tired of that shit. They were getting tired of it. It doesn't seem like a coincidence that changes were made with Marvel just right after Iger returned to Disney. And thank God, because the old CEO was shit. Like honestly, if I were CEO of Disney, I would not allow this shit to happen. I would let projects take as long as they need to be completed. Because see the problem is that a bad production schedule can really fuck up a company. You have to be realistic with your standards. If you aren't, this is the shit that happens. This is the shit that will happen. Like quality over quantity. That's the thing. Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. Fortunately, Marvel is starting to realize that now. To be fair, they've I feel like they've always known that, but at one point they just forgot. But now they're like, okay, you know what? Let's stop this shit. We're gonna make some changes and get our shit together. It's like the same story with the FO of my ball team. They can't phone in anymore and rely on the cakewalk schedule to get into the playoffs, but you have to put the best team out there possible. Yeah, exactly. So, quality over quantity. Like, really, at this point, if something is going to take a while to complete, let it be completed. Like, just let projects take their time to be completed. Within reason, of course. That's not an excuse to delay something like for so long. But like at the end of the day, humans are not machines. Like humans are not machines. They can only create so much content before they get burned out, or before their content gets stale, or whatever. So, quality over quantity, please. And that's the other thing I'm hearing. I heard that Marvel has committed to a new quality over quantity policy for their future content. That gives me hope because that really is something that they have been struggling with for the last few years, last several years. I feel like I'm, and now I'm actually glad I lost interest in Marvel at some point and during my adolescence because I would not have wanted to deal with this shit as a young adult. I'm just like I'm technically still a young adult, but I mean in my younger years, like in my early 20s. I'm 28 now, but like I would not have wanted to deal with this shit back then. It's just like no. So I'm glad I got out when I did. But yeah, like because like I can like you can tell that Marvel can do better. I feel like they've always been good. It's just that they lost their way at one point. But now they're getting their shit together. And plus, some of their side content is good. It's just that some of it isn't. Some of it's good, some of it's not. So it's good that they're really fixed, that they're getting their shit together. But anyway, I really don't have anything more to say about Age of Ultron. I mean, I like the movie. I can see why people don't like it, or at least find it divisive. But I personally liked it. Although now that I think about it, maybe like now that I think about it, I do have a slightly less positive opinion of it before starting the stream. But anyway, I do think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be good because of James Gunn and the fact that they are allowing early fan screenings that will hopefully spread good word of mouth for the movie. Good. I don't care about Guardians of the Galaxy because I'm just not interested in that stuff. But I'm glad that hopefully the movie will turn out good. The main problem is that they hardly had any competition beforehand and were meant to do better. Now they basically have it and feel the pressure. Oof. I can see why that's a problem. But anyway, um yeah, Age of Ultron isn't perfect, but I enjoyed it. Still my least favorite of the four Avengers movie, to be honest. That's fair. That is fair. I can see why. I can see why. Personally, Winter Soldier, actually, I don't know. I feel like you might have changed my opinion a bit, which is fine because this is a discussion. A rant stream is a discussion. It's not just about me ranting about shit. It's about listening to differing opinions. But anyway, but yeah, I can see why people don't like people if they don't like this movie. I can see why they don't find it very good, or why they find it divisive or polarizing, or why they think it might just be okay. I liked it a lot. Honestly, I really liked it, but I can see why people might not. But it's funny because like the other three movies are not nearly as polarizing. It's just this one. Of the first four movies, I mean. I don't know about the next four movies, but yeah. But anyway, let's see. Ratings. I guess we shall rate the movies now. Let me just do this because I'm lazy as fuck. So I'm gonna just do this. But yeah, Age of Ultron. Overall, a good movie. Let me just fix this up. What would I give this one? And I don't want these here. The first Avenger. Hey, I meant to have ratings beforehand, but I I was like, fuck it. I'll just decide on that later. First Avenger. Yeah, 9 out of 10. The Avengers. 9.5 out of 10. Yes. The Winter Soldier. Let me go back to the Splendid Slides for a moment. I forgot. I mentioned this late earlier, but and this is probably just me. I would have liked a bit more focus on the Winter Soldier character because really we didn't get to have a lot of focus on. Why am I misspelling this word? We didn't get to have a lot of focus on him. Like enough to service the plot, but not enough. But like not as much as I would have liked. That's just my opinion. But it's like his name is in the title, and yet it's really more about the movie's really more about Captain America. If that makes sense. So I would have liked to see more of that. But maybe there wasn't much they could do about that. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like some of these issues I mentioned might not have been stuff that the writers could have completely fixed because unfortunately, a movie's a movie and it has to be and it can't be longer than 2 hours or 2 hours and 30 minutes max or 3 hours max. Like it's just hard to squeeze things into a 2 hour runtime, where you have so much content for your story, but you end up having to make cuts. It sucks, but you know that's just how it is. But anyway, The Winter Soldier. I guess I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. Age of Ultron, maybe just an 8 out of 10. I don't know. Probably give Age of Ultron an 8.5 out of 10. I don't know. I guess that's just how I feel. So yeah, I know Endgame's probably going to be polarizing because, well, as the name implies, the Avengers they get yeeted out of existence. So, and of course, the time travel logic isn't going to help either. But what can you do? But yeah, you can see that I actually do like all these movies. I rate all these positively. So that's my take. My take. My take. My take. There's this one infamous scene during the final battle that even to this day people won't shut the fuck up about. Like, yes, I get it. It was kind of forced, but good God, the scene itself was only 1 fucking minute of a movie that's 3 hours long. Oh god, oh god. Ugh. I wonder what that scene was. Of course, I have to wait until I get to end game. Yeah, I'll know when I see it. Don't worry. Yeah, I know. I'll know when I see it. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of scenes, um, scenes that take place during the last stretch of the movie. There was this, I remember that I, this is why I like the first Avengers movie so much. Um, there was this one scene at the end of the first Avengers movie where literally all the Avengers are just eating at a fast food restaurant together in complete silence. It's just funny. It's like they're just there eating. They're just eating, not even talking. Um, they're just eating and enjoying their food, but they're not even talking. And it was funny. And I was like, it's just so unexpected. Like, and there are a few other ending scenes that I remember. Like Age of Ultron actually had one scene at the end where Thanos showed up and put on some golden glove. And I think at the end of the first Avengers movie, he appeared. Was that him at the end, or was that someone else? I can't remember. Or some alien entity. But and trying to remember any other final scenes or post credit scenes. I'm trying to remember. I think that's I think that's those are all the scenes I want to talk about. Oh yeah, wait, hold up. I forgot. I meant to have this document out because for the first Avengers movie, there was one more scene I wanted to talk about that was really funny. I already talked about three of these, but there was one more that I didn't mention. So yeah, that was the one I talked about in Age of Ultron, where Thanos was like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." Where he puts on this golden glove. I didn't fully understand what he was talking about, but I mean, it's clear that he's gonna fuck shit up. So it's clear he's gonna target the Earth, and we'll find out exactly what I guess in the next movie, or maybe not in the next movie, but in one of the next movies. But anyway, there was this one scene in the first Avengers movie that was also pretty funny. So okay, so I actually I actually uh copied the dialogue. So like this was just after Thor appeared and fought Iron Man and Captain America, and then they're all on and then they were all on this ship, and then Captain America said at one point during the conversation, Captain America says, "I want to know why Loki let us take him. He's not leading an army from here." And then Banner says, "I don't think we should be focusing on Loki. That guy's brain is a bag full of cats. You could smell crazy on him." And then Thor says, "Have care how you speak. Loki is beyond reason, but he is of Asgard, and he is my brother." And then Black Widow says, "He killed 80 people in 2 days." And then Thor hesitates and then says, "He's adopted." It's like, he's my brother, but he killed people. Yeah, he's adopted. It's like, Thor, I'm really ashamed of him. It's like, hey, what's your language? It's your brother. Watch how you speak. But he killed people, like 80 people. Um, we're adopted, so that was funny. But I think those are all the funny scenes I wanted to talk about. But anyway, but yeah, that was funny. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about. So, Captain America: The First Avenger, 9 out of 10. The first Avengers movie, 9.5 out of 10. Winter Soldier, 8.5 out of 10. Age of Ultron, 8.5 out of 10. So I would say that none of these movies are bad, but the last one in particular is pretty polarizing. So, oof. Okay, I think that's it. That's all I have left to say. So, the end. The end. The end, bitches. Let me not. No, I'm kidding. That is the end. I shall be going now, and I shall watch Civil War after this Rantstream. You'll wait before I stop the stream though. Before I stop the stream, Maple, what days are you free this week for any rant streams? Because I plan on doing not just this one or the one tomorrow, but a few more. One on Thursday and one on Saturday. Well, maybe one of those days. Maybe not both, but one of them. So, like, what is your schedule like this week? Because I don't want to do one while you're not here. That's why I ask. You're free in the next few days except for Friday because that's when you're seeing Guardians 3. Okay, good, because I'm not gonna do this on Friday. Okay, so I can have a rant stream tomorrow, Thursday, and Saturday. Okay, so you're going to an early screen on Friday for Guardians 3. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna. I work on Friday, so I'm not gonna bother streaming on Friday. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is I want to see the thing is that I want to like cover the next. I might actually not stream tomorrow. If you're gonna be free Thursday, then I'm probably not gonna stream tomorrow because it's gonna be hard for me to like watch all four movies before the rant stream tomorrow. If that makes sense. So I might just like take a day off tomorrow to catch up, and then on Thursday, I will like um I will do the rant stream, and then on Saturday I'll do another rant stream on the Venom movies. Let me see what about. Let me check Black Adam though. Hold on. I feel like I want to talk about that one, but let me see if I can. Hang on. I might rewatch it. I don't know. Oh, I can actually order it. Damn, I should have done this before midnight, but I didn't I didn't think I didn't think like that's okay though, because I'm not gonna cover it on Thursday, so I feel like I might as well cover Black Adam with the Venom movies. I feel like I should just do that. I'm not gonna bother touching the Wakanda. I've seen the Wakanda movies, Wakanda Forever, and the first Black Panther movie and the second. I've seen both of those. I don't feel like talking about them though, or about the Woman King as well. Like they were good movies. I just don't feel like talking about them. It's really just superheroes. Well, I mean the Black Panther movies. Black Panther is technically a superhero, but I just don't want to focus on him. I'm not really all that interested in him. It's really just it's really just the Avengers, Spider-Man, Venom, and Black Adam I'm just worried about right now. But anyway, yeah, I'll just move it to Thursday. I'll just move it to Thursday because like I don't want to like burn myself out because like it was hard enough for me to like watch all these Avengers movies right before the stream. Hence why I ended up doing this. I really should have managed my time better, but yeah, like I don't want to like burn myself out, so I'm just gonna take a day off tomorrow and then like catch up. I might watch a movie to like right after this stream, or I might just save it for tomorrow. I don't know, but I will definitely be ready for Thursday. So we'll just move it to Thursday, and then we'll just have another one on Saturday. I'm actually glad that I have more days off this week than usual because now I can catch up with all these rant streams. So, so let me order Black Adam then. And I'll just cover that with the Venom movies. Might as well talk about Black Adam just to get it out of the way. It's just one of those movies where it's just like you see it, you review it, and then you're done. So yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. I'd rather not talk about the Black Panther. Cool character, but I don't want to like talk about him or his sister, who's the star of the second movie, or about anything else involving Viola Davis. Like she's cool and all, but it's like I really don't want to talk about any more Marvel movies than I have to. Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting tired too. So with that, I will not be streaming tomorrow because I'm kind of burned out. Like watching four movies and that, like nah. I got to give myself time to prepare for the next rant stream, and I'll try to have the PowerPoint ready beforehand too. But yeah, this was fun though. I'm glad I did it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this rant stream. I'm Team Ruler 15, and I'll see you guys next time. So until then, deuces and goodbye.